And we are back. FOKLZ, once again. Episode 22, mate. Oh, can you believe it?
It's a long time.
It is a long time. Are you getting on? All right?
I'm good. I'm good. We did lose to Liverpool, but I I'm not that. It's whatever. Start of the season, it happens. So we continue to move on. I'm quite happy. How are you?
I mean, I'm stressed because of microphone issues. What a fun last hour I've had. On the whole, though, all right. Envious of this glorious shirt you've got, by the way. Is it
Yeah.
the rep or is it the like player version?
The rap one.
Nice. I mean, has it got all that? It has, hasn't it? It's got all the embroidery of the.
Yeah, it does. That's what I was like looking for, but it does actually look really nice. I like it a lot. I was like, now I haven't bought an Arsenal shirt myself for ages because I usually get them as presents, but it was nice, nice little one, nice little purchase. I mean, a little, it's expensive, but
Name on the back?
no.
All right, come on then. What's your view of names on the back? Like, are you someone who's like, no, that is not okay, or are you all right with it?
I'm not someone that personally would. I mean, I have a last away shirt I got away last year. My mum got me that has Saka on the back, and like I like it. Like I'm not going to complain. All my friends get names on the back. Like get like a different player every year and like all that. And I think it's really cool. I think if I was like going to games more, I probably would. But obviously, as someone who just wears this more as like, oh, let's go out, let's just put a shirt on, put a football shirt on. I have loads of shirts. I like prefer the shirt. But it's also the money. Like I don't want to pay an extra 15 quid for a name on the back because I got Rashitska from a Norwich shirt when I went to a Norwich game in the Prem, and he literally played 2 more games and then left to Turkey. And I was like, well, so I got Rashitska on the back, but that's pointless. Since then, I'm like, no, not bothering.
Yeah, I'm the same. I mean, I'm not like entirely against it, I guess, but yeah, I've got a Sanchez shirt, and every time I look, it's that thing of I don't mind it as much now. Like I don't have as hard feelings about him leaving. I guess time is a great healer, Reece. But I do always think like, oh god, we got Mkhitaryan in that deal, and we lost like probably the peak player at the Emirates. So yeah, it's probably not a good idea. Like a player like Saka is probably a good one because
Yeah.
hell end. But again, if he leaves and goes to a rival at some point, oh, the hate we'll have for him. It's so yeah, that's for me. But like for kids, like my kids have got like. To be fair, my son was talking to me the other day. He came down in a Martinelli shirt the day after the Liverpool game, and I just couldn't look at
Sensitive subject.
it. Yeah. Do we talk about it briefly? Like,
We should talk about it when we talk about the window, I think.
oh yeah, good shout, mate. So, I love that segue. Tonight we said last week actually, didn't we? We mentioned the window, and we started talking about has it been a good window? Should Arteta be judged on the amount spent, and then a kind of narrative around like this 1 billion that's been spent, and then I went on a rant about how the Europa League is just promotion, which, by the way, Tottenham fans have been gunning for me since that statement, and I was like,
I
that's just how I
I
feel
saw
about
the
it. It's not an
short and
Arsenal
I was
thing.
like, oh, that's certainly a statement.
Mate, I'm sticking by it. I'm sticking by it. It's not a major trophy. Like it's a trophy, but it's the same as winning the championship. It doesn't, no one's shouting about it. Like,
It's like winning the playoffs of the championship. You get a trophy, and it's like, well, yeah, but like,
yeah, exactly. That's what it is. Thank you. Yeah. And someone was like, oh, just because Arsenal didn't win it. I was like, I genuinely would have felt exactly the same if they did. And the other thing was that you even mentioned, I do prefer now that Champions League teams aren't dropping down because I just think that makes it farcical as well. Like, I don't know.
yeah,
Anyway, so then we said, let's go through the window. Is it a good window or a bad window? And I have a feeling there might be a little debate on the cards with this. Let's have a look. Fabio's waiting, isn't he? Fabio Vieira. I put a tweet out, a little poll saying Nelson, Lokonga, Vieira, and Zinchenko all left on deadline day, but were they good deals? And lo and behold, I got a reply from you saying Yes, they were good deals. I don't know if you were doing that to make me bite or not, but 61%, almost 62% agree with you, mate. I don't think they're good deals. I don't think they're good deals. Talk to me. Are they good deals?
Yeah, I think they're broadly quite fine. I think judging how to sell players in the market is probably the one thing that I think we are like have the least knowledge about. Like we just ultimately a player's value is how much people are willing to spend, and that's just not something we really know. Like Kivior apparently had 15 offers, what Han of Arsenal said, but we didn't even hear about any of them until like I heard Palace and then Porto, and that was it. But apparently it was like many other teams that wanted him. Um, like with the Kivior deal, I'm not like the money isn't brilliant. We made back the money we spent, but it's one of them situations they wanted to respect a player that had done a lot for the club, and we didn't lose money on him at the end of the day. So, and it wasn't
True.
like a necessary sale either. It's not someone we had to sell. Like I've said this multiple times that he's absolutely fine. Like I love Kivior. So in that situation, I feel like there's a bit of disappointment with it because there was offers on the table. But I'm not going to begrudge the team for trying to respect the decisions of a player that did a lot for us. And then when it comes to the other players, I genuinely think getting them off the book is a major achievement in itself. Like these players aren't playing. These players aren't are on a huge. Some of them, like Zinchenko, that deal to Nottingham Forest is genuinely one of the best deals of the summer for us because he is on
Do you
150.
think?
Yeah, he's not worth anything. He's a 150k a week player that is an inverted fullback, which like just European teams don't play, especially outside the Prem. And you know, he tried to get him to go to Marseille, and he couldn't agree the wages because he was wanted more money, which is a whole thing in itself. And I've been very critical of it online about my opinions of Zinchenko. But I
Yeah.
would you at that point you have to get rid of a player that's just taking up 150k a week and not playing. He's not part of the squad. We've bought another left back in. So in that eyes, we've just got to get rid of him. And we've got a loan fee for him, which is reported. They're paying even all of the wages or majority of them because of how last minute it was. And he's a free agent next year, so that means we never have to worry about him again. So Jaco's gone. We didn't get money for him, but we spent 30 mil on a very specific position of player that has lost all his value because we haven't played him. And also, you know, I don't really want someone who has the, let's say, personality that he does anywhere near this club because he just doesn't know when to shut up. And
That
I
I
think
100% agree with.
all these factors are in play when it comes to Zinchenko. And I think we didn't even think there was a deal going to happen. Like I remember David Ornstein tweeted at 9:05 or whenever the deadline was, 5 minutes past it, and was like Arsenal were going to sell to Forest. Zinchenko, and I got so much dopamine. I was like, oh my god, I was like jumping about. It's the best thing of the summer. I was so happy because, like. What people don't realize is that 150k a week wages for the next year is actually going to benefit us a lot. Like this is the big reason why, other than all the other factors, this was the reason why 2 years ago I said that we should sell Party because I was like, he's on stupid amount of wages and he's not gonna, and I just don't think he's that good as much as people think he does. The same with Jesus. I've been adamant that I'm like, get him out of the club. I get he's injured, so it's hard at the moment, but he did it. I heard that the big reason why Arsenal couldn't really buy any other players was down to the wages, not really the sale money. We don't need money from sales. We're fine for money. We make 600 mil last year commercially, so it's
Yeah.
all about literally the wages and players that are on a huge amount of wages that are crying that they're not playing, but not really understanding that you're never going to be part of the squad is like a big thing. And I think, broadly speaking, on deadline day, like the deals aren't perfect, but there is a certain level of like the player has to do well as well. Like Nelson going on loan to Brentford with a buy option of 15 mil. If he isn't injured for once in his life and actually, you know, plays well at Brentford, which I know he can do if he's fit, I'm sure that they would be like 15 mils a bargain, even with his 100k a week wages. So it doesn't like completely avoid us from getting a business in next summer. It also allows us to do that and means that at least this year we don't have to pay the wages. I think like broadly the Vieira one is disappointing. I'd say the most. But
Yeah.
I think like yeah again like you know he's in a position where there seems to be loads of attacking midfielders popping up suddenly in the last like year, and he just hasn't really played a lot and he isn't brilliant. So like it's just tough really in that situation.
I mean, I just worked it out. So, well, I mean, Kipology is saying 120 grand. So, I mean, it depends who you believe, you or, you know, a
I don't
salary
think
website.
I don't believe it. I mean, after
I
what
mean,
Ryan Bertrand said, I don't believe Capology at all.
yeah, yeah, that is true. But what I'm doing, looking at it conservatively, because I'm kind of on the other side of the fence with the whole thing. So about 6.2 million a year. That's what we'll save. So it just depends. Like, if you think that 6.2 million is worth it, and I mean, my worry, and this is going to sound mental after the amount of business we've done, so it'd be so Arsenal that we get injuries and then we need Zinchenko. And everyone's going like they were with Vieira last year. I don't think many people really wanted Vieira to stay in the squad. And then at one point, I remember January, everyone going, "Oh my God, get him back on loan, getting returned
We
to the
should have
club." And
recalled him in January. I did a video about it. I think we
yeah,
should have.
and that's one of my concerns. The other thing is, I just feel like surely you can just get like a cheeky 5 million or something. Like it's just so frustrating. There's just nothing, just anything. Give me anything.
But it's
And
the wages, isn't it? Like you
yeah,
said, like we're gonna save around about a lot with anyway. And we did get a fee for Zinchenko. Like, we don't know the fee, it's probably like 2-3 mil, but we
yeah,
are
true.
actually getting something. I think as well, when I look at the situations, it's like money in wages is very different to money in terms of like genuine money. Like 6 million off the wage book is a lot more than just 6 mil as the transfer fee. Like,
Yeah,
you only get us. The problem with our PSR and the FFP problems we have is all based on wages. It's not based on fees. It's not based on any of that. Like, we don't need to actually, like, physically, we don't actually need to sell that much more this summer. It's more next summer. We'll probably have to get a little bit more of revenue in. It's just about wages, and we've got a bloated squad of players that aren't really good enough. I think we're in that situation. We're desperate. You kind of have to get anything. And like, Zinchenko has 1 year left on his deal at the end of the day. He's yet again a very specific player. I mean, realistically, the only reason why he's gone to Forest is because Edu knows him and likes him. There's no other reason that any other club in the world would have considered him, barring Marseille, who play funky football anyway in
yeah.
their league. Like, no one else. Like, Dortmund were rumored in January, and apparently we turned that down for a good offer. And it's like, well, you can't be picky. And then, like, we were in that situation. It's like Garnacho to Chelsea. Like, that fee is too low. But everyone knew what United's stance was. They didn't want him anymore. He'd been thrown out of the club. You know, he was kind of holding them at ransom. So they kind of had to just take what they could get. And I get that's a lot more, but that's a very different situation for someone like Zinny.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot more upside with that, profile like that. An attacking player, someone a lot younger, might actually do something. And to be fair to him, he does have pretty good output. Like, he's one of the more clutch players that United have had, Garnacho. But I don't know. I'm looking at the players. The problem is, to be fair, the players we're trying to sell are just not great players. Like, they're just not. And I guess I sometimes look and I think, have we got this reputation as well of players leaving the club and doing well? I don't really know if we do. I guess like some players do, but you look
Not
like
very rarely, yeah. I'd
I
say,
mean, I mentioned Alexis earlier. I mean, how bad was his career at United? Like, Emile Smith Rowe hasn't really done much since he's left. I know, obviously, he recently scored a
dropped
goal,
by
but
an
it's not.
18-year-old.
Yeah, yeah. Awobi's done all right. He's done pretty well. Like, Nketiah, no one knows where he is. Rob Holding, genuinely, no one knows where he is. Everyone's, search parties are out looking for him. Who else have we sold? Oh my goodness, what's the striker we sold? Balogun. Like, Balogun again, had a really good season. Nothing really since. So maybe there's like an element of that, I guess, that clubs don't want to spend too much money because we don't have a good track record with the players that we're getting rid of. But I just feel that looking at, I mean, who was it? So it was Nelson Lukonga, Vieira, Zinchenko. Do we have any other
And
outgoings?
Kivior.
Yeah. I
Delente.
think the Kivior one, I just think it's not enough. I was expecting more. Probably like at least another 5 million on top. For me, yeah, Zinchenko. Granted, you said there is like an undisclosed fee for the loan, but it's not much. I mean,
I think there's a,
Lokonga.
I genuinely think, like, my honest opinion is that the Zinchenko deal is the best sell we did. Like, to get a player that has a year left in your contract, 150k a week, with barely like 20 minutes left in the window. I know, even if you take the whole window into a stance, like him crying in his book about not playing and then rejecting multiple offers because he can't agree a fee. Like, it's one of them, like, it was the whole thing I had, like, and to be honest, this whole situation is not Berta's fault. It's not the team's fault this summer. And I kind of put the whole reason why Arsenal were bad at selling, it's down to Arteta, it's down to the club. And it is our own fault. Like, it came out in that big report after on The Athletic, I think it was. It might have been The Guardian, where they spoke about the reason why we're crap at selling is because no one knows how good our players are. They never play. We never see them.
Yeah,
Like,
that's so true.
you think about Liverpool, they sold Quansah for 40 mil. Quansah played a lot last season. He was their third choice centre back. Like, we saw a lot of Quansah. He's played for England. We know who he is. Harvey Elliott is a right winger. I think that's his best position, but he couldn't play there because of Salah, so they've moved him into central midfield, where he is all right still. And he's played there for years, so you know people still know what he's like. So they still got a good offer. I think it was like a loan with an obligation at the end of the day, but. Like, these players are known by others, and it's like with City, where people laugh at Pep Roulette. And I do think in terms of selling, they haven't been the best this summer. Like, they got 10 mil for Edison, they got like a 2 mil loan for and 10 mil for Akanji. But they broadly paid that for Akanji as well. But ultimately, like, these players all get to be seen at some point. We just have the same 11 that we're like, yep, these guys are going to play, and they play every day. And then that is one of the issues of the Vieira thing, for instance. Like, he could have played more. He played left central midfield against Everton away, I remember. And I thought he was okay in that game. There's some few issues there, but you're like, oh, he'll learn it when we'll give him time. We never gave him time. He never got any sort of light of day. Even Smith Rowe, like, the only reason why we got a fee for Smith Rowe is because people actually saw how good he was years before we sold him, before he was injured. Like, because we had to, because we were 8th in the league. Like, Florian Balogun, he absolutely ripped Liga 1 apart at Reims. And that's the reason why we ended up getting fees for him. It's because people actually watch the players. It's so hard with our players right now. Like, every player's different. Like, I think Nelson has played a lot, but he's so injury prone that everyone's so worried about even paying it. And when he's on 100 grand a week, it just makes it such a hard sale to, like, convince teams
Some
to do
of
it.
the wages we've put these players on, it's just insane, isn't it? There's been several times as well where we've got players in who aren't, fantastic players and moving our 11 forwards. And then yet we give them a massive wage hike. I think sometimes the business we've done previously, and I think Berta started to address that, to be fair to him, because you look at the Madwecki deal and he's kept his wages exactly the same, hasn't he? He's not given him like this bumper wage increase. We're doing favours for a lot of these players. Like regardless of when, before Arteta came in and at the beginning of Arteta's reign, I guess, we're still a massive club, like an enormous club. And a lot of these players coming in, like how is Eddie Nketiah on the wages that he was on? I think that's madness. The same with Reece Nelson, and the whole thing about protecting your value. Well, obviously not. We haven't really done anything with these players. There's you're 100% right, mate.
It works like both ways as well, because like the thing is with Arsenal fans do just genuinely cry when anyone leaves. Like, anyone that's played for us, everyone cries. I have had the biggest arguments I've had on the internet is every time we sell a player. Ramsdale, I was like months before when Raya was signed, I was like, well, this is the end of Ramsdale. Raya's a better player. And it's like the criticism I got was crazy, and I was like, it's just I just don't think you guys have watched Raya enough. And then like a year later, like Ramsdale should have left a year later. He didn't. We kept him too long and then sold him. And I remember people crying about the money then. I was like, we got 26 mil for a player that didn't play for a year. Like, what do you expect? Yep. Like, that was good. That was a good fee. 30 mil for Nketiah was a good offer. I remember a lot of Arsenal fans at the time being like, well, we should have asked for more. And I'm like, that is a fine offer. Like, the only reason why we even got 30 mil is because he's homegrown. Like, let's be front. Like, the only reason why Arsenal have got any money for Eddie, Ramsdale, is all because they're English and they're homegrown rules. Like, it's the only reason. Like, I just think Arsenal can't have this system where we don't play the backup players at all, don't trust them.
Yep.
And then also, like, we can't make your cake and then eat it. You got to find a way to make it work. And, like, I just think this is why when I came into this summer, I don't really blame Berta because it's not his fault. He's been basically given like rubble and he's got to make something work. Yeah. So I think after this summer, we have to really be better at selling. Like even now, like a big thing that's going on right now is the Trossard, like to Besiktas rumours. I think it's Besiktas. They've
Mhm.
bidded apparently 22 million euros, which I think is a very good fee for his age and what he could bring right now. But because it's now the market's over, do we do that? Does that leave Martinelli and Eze as the two left winger options? Is that enough? Do you want to do that? If Gyökeres gets injured, is one of them going to have to play up front? So I think we'll probably end up keeping Trossard, but that is also, and I don't blame us. I actually don't mind if we keep him or not. I think both sides of the argument I see a lot, but it just really depends what the club want to go to and really what way you want to look at it. And the sales do need to get better. Like Martinelli, they got offers for about 40 mil, I heard, and they wanted 60, which I think is fair. I think like around 50, like around the Madueke price, we should be
Yeah,
looking
I would
for.
say about 50. I
But
would be
like
happy
that's
with.
what I mean. Like the thing is, we talk down our players and talk about how Marseille's not that great anymore. Clubs are going to think that as well. Like clubs aren't like this higher power all the time. They definitely have more knowledge, and like there's players that clubs like that we don't like. Like Havertz, for instance, every club loves
Mm.
him because he's just so helpful, and normal fans won't because of his aesthetic pleasing. He's not necessarily a goal scorer. Just stuff like that. But there's also sort of ways where like media perception does matter a lot, and big teams as well. Like we talk about media perception, people like Sancho, like. Sancho's like
Yep.
complete. He had one bad season, but because of the media perception in this country, completely run to the floor. I don't think Sancho's a great player. And I actually just don't think he's a player that suits the Prem. But like, it just kind of comes to that. And like, I don't think the sales are perfect. I don't think they're brilliant. I think at the start of the summer I would have wanted more. But I think given the fact that on the last day we had to do all this business and we did get it done, it was good. I genuinely think this, and this is no like rumors or anything. I think if Zinchenko had left the day before the transfer deadline day, I think we would have put an offer in for Semenyo. I genuinely think that. I think we were waiting for the wages to come off the books, but the problem is it happened way too late and we
That's
couldn't
a
do anything.
big shout, mate. That's a huge shout.
Because I know we wanted, I know that on the last day of the window, the two players that we could have considered was Semenyo and Watkins. And I think that if things had planned out, we might have been able to. But I mean, I'm sure we'll go back in for Semenyo next year. But this is what people say as well when it comes down to like buying players. Like I see people talking and they're like, oh, next year we'll get this player or next year we'll get a winger. And it's like, we have no idea what the market's going to like again next year or
Yeah.
what money we're going to have or what's going to happen. Martinelli might become the best left winger in the world in the next 4 months. And then we're like, well, we don't want to sell him. So it's like, and then like, for instance, Calafiori might be injured for the entire season. And then it's like, well, we need to buy a left back. He's unreliable. Like, it's so like up in the air. I just couldn't predict that far in the future. I think I agree with you. The sales being disappointing. I think in this situation that like, I think Berta deserves a lot of credit for doing well. But I mean, getting Sambi on a permanent, I didn't even think was ever going to happen. I know it's like 5 mil, whatever. Well, I heard 10 mil, and in Transfer Market reported it as 3 mil euros, but I've heard 5 mil as well. So who knows? We'll probably never know because no one really cares. But we
Yeah.
we'll get rid of him for that. But like the thing is like if Vieira goes to Hamburg and actually plays well, and Hamburg are awful by the way, and I watched their game against St. Pauli and they were awful. But if he goes there and plays well, like his value will at least go up to like 15 mil, so then we can get money. But these players just go out on loan. We are bound at choosing loan spots for our players, 100%.
Oh,
But
our loans are awful.
our
They're
players
awful,
also are just
awful.
not good on loan as well. They're just like half of the time I'm like, what are we doing? Just send them to the championship. I don't
Mate,
know.
that is so true. Like, it drives me mad our loan system because we never ever loan anyone, and then when we do, it ends up like the completely wrong club. I've seen
Yeah.
it so many times, but there's so many things we need to do. We need to tie down youngsters' contracts early rather than just letting them all go and then sell them on, because that's just a really good business model. Like it's a really simple way of doing it,
Well, it's
especially
like
like you mentioned, homegrown. If you start getting homegrown talents and then moving them on, I know obviously there's like they've got to be at the club for multiple years and things, but it's not a complicated thing. And keeping people in the shop window, we've seen it so many times. Like you said, Ramsdale earlier, out in the cold for a whole year. Like just put him in sometimes. Like it doesn't have to be in the Champions League or whatever, but just put him in. And we we hold on to players for too long. Something, to be fair to Wenger, Wenger was really, really good at. I think a lot of people look at the second half of his tenure and go, "Oh, he was very like caring manager, and he kept on all these players like the Wilshires and the Rizikis and the Ramseys, who had lots of injuries, and he always kept them there and kept faith in them. Look at like a player like Diaby that we kept around, and there was who was the player that we had that was injured for a long, long time. Oh God, I think we even kept someone for training after they left. Their contract had left and finished. I cannot for life remember who it is. It'll probably pop back in my head in an hour. But Wenger, at the beginning of his tenure, he got rid of players at a peak. So players like Overmars, players like Petit, he just went, okay, yeah, time's up, move on, go again. And he always made the right decision. Like one of our record signings, Nicholas Anelka, that paid for all of our training centre, that was because he was at absolute peak. And at the time, people were like, what are you doing? This guy's going to win a Ballon d'Or. He is going to be World Player of the Year. No, move him on, go again. And we did that so many times. And I think sometimes you do have to make those tough decisions. Martinelli would have been one this season. I can imagine some people being like, but at the end of the day, if you get the right price, that is, if you get the right price, you have to move them on. And it's a good way forward. And other teams do it. Look at where Liverpool are now. And if you asked everyone when they sold Coutinho at the time, I'm not too sure they would have thought that. So
you're so right. Like the thing is, like every other team in the Prem operates like that, other than bar maybe like United, but who cares? Like City.
Well, look at the state of them at the moment. So.
City have this revolving door of players. Pep Guardiola is one of the most like. If you want to leave City, you're allowed to leave. Sterling left in his prime. Every single player, like Jesus when we bought him. You're not playing, you can leave. Like
Leroy Sané.
Like every single player, there's so many options that he has just gone like, well, if I can just buy other players if you don't want them. Even this summer, they were actually going to sell. I don't think using City as a good reference for the last 2 years is good because their transfers have been awful for a while. But like they were going to sell Savio this year for good money because they got if Tottenham were willing to pay 70 million euros and they're like, well, we bought him for 20 mil. I know why, but like that's good money profit for them. They're like, do it. Liverpool, they wanted to keep Luis Diaz, and Luis Diaz was like, I want to leave, and they're like, all right, then we get a good fee. We're taking you. They get a good fee. He's gone. Like, and have they bought a left winger? No, they haven't bought one at all. They've got Gakpo and a 17-year-old, but they're not worried because they just buy other players who are good anyway. Like Isak's coming in, like that's going to be the ultimate, like in terms of like you said before, like output wise, that's going to be the facilitator for Salah leaving. They wanted Higuain to come in to help for Van Dijk. I think he's way more suited to like a Van Dijk position than the Konate one. Obviously it didn't happen, but they'll probably just go in from next summer. Like they have always ideas of they sell money and we buy players that are different. Like there's so many good players in world football. I always say this. It's like people say to me like, well, Saudi will run football. And I was like, you can take all the big stars to Saudi Arabia and Premier League and Europe will make better stars anyway, just naturally. We have all the best we've like everything is in Europe in terms of football, in terms of developing players. And it takes a couple of years of players to be nobodies, i.e. Desir Dua. I don't even knew he was 2 years ago. And now he's scored in Champions League final, one of the best players in the world. This is how quick it happens and people will develop. And I think we are too a lovey-dovey club. In the entire time that I've watched Arsenal since 2008, that has been the way. We've had players injured, just stay in here. We've had players that aren't good enough, just stay here for years. You think about the players that we let go on freeze because we refuse to take any transfer fee for them all the time, like, or cheap values. Like, I remember when Ramsey left to Juve, and I was just like, we should have just got rid of him the year before when we knew he had 1 year left. And, like, we didn't achieve anything in that 1 year with him. It's not like it was worth keeping him. So it's just one of them situations where, like, it really frustrates me sometimes. And I personally don't think Martinelli's a tough sale. I think a tough sale is a Gabriel, I don't know, like one of them players. And sometimes you might have to do that. I get as well from the fan perspective, we don't want that to happen and we shouldn't have to do that at our level. But there is certain times where, like, i.e. if Calafiori gets dropped again later in the season, we've got to consider what we're doing here because he's
Yeah.
young. If he can't stay fit, if he can't do this, we've got other players there now. Why is he going to still be? If we can get value for him now, then we've got to do that. And that's how clubs think. But we're not like that. We're not a revolving door. People come here and they stay forever, it feels like. That's why they don't want to get forwards in for years because they're like, well, as soon as we get them, they're bloody stuck here for their whole contract. If we want it all out, and it was the same with Aubameyang, man. Like, Aubameyang's the one of the genuinely one of the worst decisions we've made in the last 10, 15 years. The entire time I supported Arsenal. And it was one of the worst decisions because at the time it was stupid. Like, in hindsight, there's decisions that we made that I'm like, okay, yeah, that looks stupid. But at the time, I can get this sort of thinking. Giving a guy 200, 300k a week when he's 31 is just dumb. It's just stupidly dumb. And when it happened, I literally remember, I wasn't doing YouTube at the time. It's 6 months before I started. But I remember literally saying the 2 months before it happened, like, we need to get rid of him. Just get rid of him. He's not worth it. And then we gave him a new contract, and then everything fell out 5 months later, and we got nothing for him. And like that was a blessing because we managed to get his wages off the book. But it just shouldn't have to be like that. Stop. If you're over 31, stop giving people big contracts. And that is a whole party situation with me. We're talking from footballing ability. He's in his 30s. Don't give any 30 player who's 200k a week who's got clear weaknesses and has decreased in ability. This is one of the big reasons why I'm against the Watkins signing, just 100%. I'm 100% against it because he is 29. He's coming up to 30, and I've already seen a complete decrease in Ollie Watkins' performances from this year to last year. So yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's just how I feel. Like, I think we're gonna have to make tough sales next year. That might end up just being Martinelli for 40 mil, which I don't believe is that tough right now in this market. But there's other players like Trossard right now. We better consider this deal. Like, I don't think
you have to consider it. Like, for me right now, I mean, it's a bit of a gamble because you look and we've got Saka out, we've got Havertz out, so that's straight away, two big members of that front three. And then you're looking at, well, Martinelli hasn't been great as well, so it's like, how much is he going to affect things? And Trossard, to be fair to him, in most recent times, he's had the better output than Martinelli, really. But not defensively, obviously, but he does affect games. So I don't know. Like, I guess Marino, I would count now as a 9.
Yeah.
Would you prefer Marino up front or Trossard?
Marino. I prefer Martinelli out of all of them, but
yeah,
I don't think he's going to do. That's a good point. Like you say, like, if we get rid of Trossard, you think about right now. Let's talk about the injuries. We've got on the right, let's say Madueke and Dalman. In the centre, Gyökeres, Marino, and then on the left, Eze and Martinelli. Like, that's fine. And then with Waneri, Odegaard midfield, Rice, Zuber, Norgard, I think we're okay.
Like, Waneri can play. He can play out on the right. Like, I prefer him more central, but he did a really good job, to be fair to him, when he did come in last season. So I don't hate it. If the rumours are true, and it is around it was 22 million euros, was it?
Yeah.
I think that's a deal you can't pass up, especially at this current stage. And funny enough, we've just given him a pay rise, so it just makes sense.
I think I would like. I don't think we'll do it because I just know this club. I don't like. If we don't do it, I'm not going to be like super negative because I get it. Like, the issue for me is Martinelli. Like, we could talk about it now before we go to the transfers in a little bit, but like, I'm going to do a big video about Martinelli next week, I think. And I think it's just a massive thing about him at the moment of, like, what is going on. He played against Liverpool, which broadly, I said to you I wanted Eze in, but I was assuming... I'm disappointed that he didn't play Eze from the start, I will say, on left wing. Like, I am disappointed. I'm not too bothered about the Marino thing. I think it's fine. I don't think... it's bad. I actually just think Marino needs a creative spark next to him. I think Marino, broadly, his pressing job and build-up job, he's good. He just isn't a central attacking midfielder that gets into them areas. But I'm not going to blame someone for doing what he's told and being good at that. Like, that's not his job. So I think Eze should have started in that game. And obviously Martinelli was poor. That 9th minute in where he goes on that dribble and Gyökeres makes the run and then gets confused because he doesn't make the run. And it's so funny to me because I mentioned it in my video and I saw a few other people do after as well, where he literally, when he goes one-on-one against Kanate, everyone gives up. Gyökeres stops moving. Madueke's like, oh, my God, he starts
Yeah,
running
they
back.
do.
And then Marino just goes, well, I'm not even going to run in the box. He just sits like, because no one believes in him at this point. Like, and that is like that's a mental thing that you can't stop. And
People believe more in 15-year-old Max Dowman than him at the moment. Like, genuinely. And I think as a professional footballer, that is damning. Like, regardless of how good Max Dowman is, and he genuinely is a generational talent. When you are going to be an established left winger in the Premier League, and a 15-year-old is, demanding the ball and receiving it in, more difficult areas than you, and players are willing to make runs for you, and it's just, it doesn't look good. And the
uh,
annoying thing is, I'm not surprised that Martinelli's still at the club.
yeah. I do think if the 40 mil is reported, I would probably still give it another year, given the fact we need depth, and like,
But
like
what happens again? What happens if we just play Eze this season, and then we use Trossard, and then Martinelli doesn't get a sniff?
I still think he's a 40 mil player though. Like I
Do you
think that,
think, like,
yeah,
for
yeah.
us though, that's what I'm
I
worried
think
about.
given his age, that like something that needs to be remembered about Martinelli is that I know the opinion of him in terms of actual football is very high. Not necessarily
Mm,
Arsenal, but Klopp spoke about him years ago.
yep.
But I know in Brazil, he literally started for Brazil last night over everyone else. He did get brought off a Paquetá, who scored twice in 2 minutes as soon as he came on. But I spoke to some Brazilian fans about it. And I think I watched the game back, and broadly, Martinelli did a lot of the things that he does for us. But he does look a little bit like there was one dribble he went when he went on the outside, went inside, had a shot, which was really good, which he just doesn't do for us. But broadly, for Brazil, it doesn't matter that much. Like everyone else kind of creates, he kind of just, does
Yeah.
the normal stuff. But a lot of Brazil fans love him. And apparently now he started, the last 4 games he started for Brazil, I've heard that he's been brilliant. They liked him a lot. So ultimately, like he is playing with these world-class talents in that cup. He's starting over a lot of other players. He is very
He's
well
outperformed
regarded.
like Vinicius on several occasions. Like, he
Yeah.
genuinely has for
For Brazil,
Brazil.
he looks good. Like, and like, I think sometimes to us, he maybe is the same, and we ask for different things, is why it doesn't work as much.
Mm.
But I think, like, with him, like, it's the same with Garnacho. If Garnacho just went for 35, 40 mil, I think if Garnacho had sat on United's bench for a year, he'd still be worth 35, 40. I think that's the lowest fee for someone of his age, experience, and quality. Like,
Mm.
Martinelli might not be the best player like right now, but he did score 15, 16 Premier League goals 3 years ago, which is broadly how we got 30 mil for Smith Rowe, because he scored 10 goals in the Prem
Yep.
3 years ago before we sold him. So I think as well with Martinelli that there's a lot more there to like. Like Brazilian teams love him, and they would definitely be interested. He's got an Italian passport. I've seen Serie A clubs be linked with him. Serie A clubs were willing to spend 50, 60 mil on Garnacho at the start. Napoli were, and the money that they spend on players is kind of mental. Like Raspadori went to Napoli for like 35 mil, never did anything, never started, and then they sold him for like 20 mil. Like no one cared.
I
Like
could see someone like Nottingham Forest picking him up. Like, genuinely could, and that's not because of Edu and the whole Brazilian link and the
well, it
Arsenal
might
link.
be because of
But,
Andy.
I mean, yeah, it could be. But I could see him going there. And to be fair, I could see him suiting their football. Like, the one thing with Martinelli is that at least you've got that, like, question in the back of your mind going, but can he do it at another club? Like, we've seen him do it. Like, can he play better in a more transitional team? Can he play in a team that's going to sit back deeper and then, quick bursts forward? And I think having that just ups the value slightly, because
it's
without that, then
it's
people start going, "Oh, well, he's on the decline." And
Well, it's a whole striker thing, isn't it? Like, he was a striker when he first originally
mm,
came in. I don't personally think if you put him in a counter-attacking side, he'd be that much better, because I actually think he's just crap at counters, like, genuinely. I think he's a good runner in behind, but I don't think as a person that carries the ball from deep. Like, for us, we counter a lot now. We've countered a lot this season so far, and he's just been useless, like the worst player by far in the squad at it. But I think if you wanted to play him as an inside forward, like more central to the goal as like a secondary
yep.
striker, it'd work a lot. And people keep going, well, why do Arsenal not do that? I saw some tweet about like why do Arsenal not do that. we need someone to be wide. You have to create width and stretch teams out. If you want to break down a low block, having Martinelli in the centre the whole time is not going to do anything. And even on the counter, that's not a great way to do it. Like, who's going to be that wider player? Now you can argue Hincapié might be, so you can maybe do it a little bit. But I do think as well the Hincapié thing, it's just like people are going a bit insane, a little bit insane. I said in my video he can overlap, and he definitely can, but he's not an overlapping fullback. He is a central defender.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference, isn't there? Like looking at his average positions that he picks up is really, really interesting because he's played in a back three a lot, and he's not. Yeah, I think some people have got this idea of him being this flying fullback, and he's not that.
I think he will be made to be one, but I don't think he's going to come in and be like that straight away. Like, I think it's more about like what he has. He's got great pace. He is like he's a really good passer. His crossing's a bit inconsistent, but if you're a good passer from long range, you would expect if you learn a bit with the crossing, it shouldn't be hard transition really.
Yeah.
So I think he has the idea, like I think he has the qualities to be a full overlapping fullback, but he's going to be more like a Ben White. Like Ben White is an overlapping fullback, but he's not like he's not like a proper one, like a Truffert or like a, I don't know, like a Monreal from Strasbourg. He's not them sort of fullbacks that just run down the wing. He's not a Kieran Tierney. Like, he's not that sort of player. Even Ben White does it, but he doesn't do it all the time.
I think we need to buy back Kieran Tierney then.
No, I actually don't think we need an overlapping fullback. Like, well, we do, but I think Hincapié's fine. Like, I think actually what we're trying to do with him will be a better.
To be fair, I think it makes more sense getting a player like Hincapié. Like, getting a Tierney just doesn't suit us. To be fair, he's a lot better defensively than people give him credit for.
But it's like the Zinchenko thing, isn't it? Like, Zinchenko's a good player, but if you're not physical and you're in Arteta's back line, which is the most physical and dominant defense in Europe, bear in mind, you're not getting in. Every single player has to be super aggressive. Like, our least aggressive player in our back line is Saliba, and that is insane because he is pretty aggressive still. So it's just like, it's insane that's what we asked for. But unfortunately, like, even Kivior, I think is a perfect player for Arsenal, but he's a slightly less like strength-wise. So we're like, yeah, we'll just get a stronger guy who can run a bit. Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? And going back to like, you know, a game like the Liverpool game, and you got Salah. If we had an injury to our left back at the time, Calafiori, which is highly likely, the drop off if you haven't got Miles available is so bad. Like, getting Zinchenko to play there is just leaves you open, and I can only imagine what would happen then. It just, and the way we defend those spaces, and
Miles forces us to play differently as well, and I don't think we always want it. Like, there's certain games you don't want him to invert in the middle every game. Like, there is games that I'd be like, nah, there's no point. Like, that's why in some games I was like, well, there might be a way that he just, like, I don't even know, just moves someone else to left back, like a DM or something. Just go like cover it. Martinelli left back shift. I don't know.
Oh man, do you know what? At this point, I prefer Calafiori playing left wing and Martinelli left back if they're both on the pitch at the same time. Just do it, whatever. Here's a question for you. Love my questions. Who gets most minutes at left back this season? Calafiori, Miles, or Hincapié?
I think Hincapié will, honestly. Well, I think Calafiori will if he's fit, but I'm not in my right mind going to sit here and say Calafiori's going to be fit. I mean, he's literally playing right now, and I've been looking like, oh, is he getting injured? Is he okay? Like, genuinely, like, I just do not trust that man. He's still on the pitch in the 80th minute. So, oh no, 90th. 2 minutes left, guys. And then, but like, I don't know. I just worry about this stuff. Like, because as well, like, some of the injuries he's got are mental. Like, I don't know if you've seen the injury he got for Italy last year, where, like, I think it's Kolo Muani gets fouled. He goes flying in the air and it catches his ankle. And it's like, but it's the same ankle problem he's had loads, and it's what he has to be super careful. And that just worries me. But Hincapié is a proper strong player. He's always been fit for years. He didn't even play for loads. He just sat on the bench. And I kind of think if Miles is going to be this midfielder in the future, I said this yesterday. I went out with some Arsenal friends and I said this to them. I said, I actually think in a world, I think if Zubimendi is injured, I think your first solution is to play Rice in DM.
Yep.
And then like Marino in left centre mid or Eze or whatever, like that would be the
I
most
just
sense.
put Eze in there.
But then I think Miles would be the second option over Norgard. And they were like, well, you got Norgard. I was like, Norgard's a good player, but in a lone six, I don't like him. I was like, in a double pivot, defending late in late games, like bring Norgard on for Zuba. Maybe Zuba's tired. Like Zuba got really tired against Liverpool like late on, and I think that's one of the reasons why he gave the foul away. That would have been perfect for Norgard to come on. I think in the last 15 minutes, calm the teams down. I think Norgard starting in games against like the Burnleys as well would be fine. I still want kind of a double pivot there with Rice. I don't want him by himself. And even in then, I would rather have Rice as a lone six, maybe. I don't really like Rice as a lone six, but maybe that's better. But I just think Miles will be. I think that's their idea, that Miles will be. And also, we talk about the future of this club. Norgard's not a long-term signing. He should be that Jorginho player if we need to, if we have injuries. Make a system that works for him, maybe a box midfield, which is why Jorginho was so successful. But we didn't play Jorginho as a lone six ever because he can't do it. And I don't think we should do that with Norgard either. So if you want to do Miles in it, I mean, I prefer Miles as an 8, but you could definitely do a 6.
I do, but yeah, I think he can play as a 6. And yeah, I think it'll be that thing of creating a double pivot with Declan Rice and then them switching. And, you know, it's interesting because they've got really similar, I don't know how to put it. Like, they're both really good at carrying, but Declan kind of like eats up ground in like a, I don't know, like a power running way. Whereas I feel like Miles, like for me, I prefer the way Miles carries it, and he's got like a better end product at the end of carrying. So I prefer him in like those more progressive areas. But
Miles is better in tighter areas because he's actually,
yeah,
because Miles is an actual dribbler. Rice is just massive.
he just goes, doesn't he?
If there's like tight air, this is the issue of having Rice as an 8 last season. It's like he is good in space, but if you don't give him that space, he is useless because he can't receive in the channel because he's just too big. So that's like one of their things. But I do think like this gives us options at the end of the day. Like we're talking like worst case scenario. If all these players get injured, this happens. But we still got options. Like Saliba came off injured. I think we're like broadly talking about the transfers here as well. But like Saliba came off injured and like it's going to be like a twisted ankle. It's not the worst injury in the world. He'll probably be out for like a month. Like, and with an international break in there, like it's whatever. But there's no rush to bring him back if Mascara's going to come in and be brilliant. Like I think Mascara against Liverpool is a right. Like yeah, there was a bit of nerves in there. I think in terms of his passing, but he's just coming in for his first start in the Prem, and I think he looked great. And I think
to be fair, he was his passing was really good in terms of like the choice of pass as well. There's a lot of players that make safe passes in a game like that, especially almost his full debut. He took that occasion on. Like he was like, right, I know what I need to do. I'm just going to try and do it. And if it doesn't come off, it doesn't come off. But that is 100% the right attitude to, you know, to have in a game like that. But I don't know. We've kind of got onto it now. Next summer. And I know you said, you know, situations change. We don't know who'd be able to get in. But on the current trend, who are we getting rid of? Because I feel that Martinelli would probably be on that list. And then we get more kind of like dynamic winger and someone, you know, someone who can dribble towards the goal. That would be nice rather than away from it. So like a Semenyo or someone like that. But, you know, I think Martinelli would be up on that list for most people. Agreed?
Yeah.
For me, I think you start looking at Martin Odegaard. Like I genuinely do. I think if he continues the way he has done, and he hasn't had like horrendous performances at the moment, but he's got to have some big performances for me. And I do worry about, you know, is he able to kind of, I don't know, have an effect on a game when we really need him to? Like, I have much more faith in Eze than I do with Odegaard. And he's very good at certain things, you know, he's not really a 10. And this, I guess a lot of the time he's mislabeled. But I think you start looking at him and going, right, can we move him on and can we get better in? Which is mad because 2 years ago I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah, I guess like it really depends where the club want to go in the direction. Because if they do move more into a 4-3-3 with like people just running about in midfield. Like he would be brilliant. Like he would be good with Rice and Zubimendi. That'd be a class midfield. Like, and then yes, you would have to rely on some creative work from your front three, but you would hope like with an Eze maybe in a left wing, it would be a bit better. But if you are going to play like a double pivot more and be like a 4-2-3-1, then I don't know if Odegaard needs to be in this team. Like we've got Waneri there, we've got Eze. Maybe they're more suited to that. If we buy left winger, like they need to play somewhere. But it all comes down to the pressing, like and all this stuff, like the leadership and the pressing of the squad. Odegaard is the biggest is the biggest component of it all, and like everyone's like, well, why did he not play Waneri against Liverpool? Why did he not play Eze in the centre? It's because they don't understand the pressing. They can't do it to the level Odegaard can. And Marino is the only player that can do it. And I actually think he did it really well. Like I want to give it really credit. He did do well.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Like, and that was why he was there. That was literally why he was in the team. And like, I look at that sort of stuff and I just think if we're still reliant on Odegaard in terms of pressing next year, then he's going to stay. Like we can't really afford to get rid of him. I do think, yes, his output needs to be better. He needs to be better a finisher. But last year, there was a lot of reasons why he wasn't brilliant. He came off a big ankle injury, which is the first injury he had in a very long time. He had his first child and didn't sleep reportedly for like 2 months, which didn't help. I mean, you could probably...
That's pretty normal, mate.
So, like I heard stuff like that. And like, I don't think this season Odegaard, like, I mean, it's hard because we have barely seen much of him really, but I don't think he's been bad in terms of them aspects, but on the ball, he needs to get better. But I also think, like, because he was so poor last season, he's got such a way to go to make it up to people. I've said this multiple times that I don't think Saka's been particularly good since he came back from his injury, which you expect. But no one said anything. I've barely seen any reports or anyone comment on it. One, yeah, I get. I'm not disregarding yet again what Saka's done for the club, and he's our best player. But if our right side has been awful, Odegaard's the one that gets blamed, not both of them, all three, or the right back. Like, and that's the stuff I look at and go like, well, Odegaard might need these players around him to be better and help him. I think Odegaard with a Madueke could work actually very well. Like, I do think they kind of could play off each other well. It really depends. I actually have a lot of belief that Odegaard will get good this season, right when people don't expect it. I just think he will. It's the same thing.
I hope so.
Yeah,
like I really do.
With Rice is always starts the season slow, and then no one says anything. But as soon as someone says something, then he goes and he's amazing for like 4 months. He does it all the time. He did it last year. I remember no one said anything, and then he played brilliant after like October.
Well, even at the end of the season, there were so many people saying, "Oh, he didn't have a great season." There he is, and they're running for a Ballon d'Or, and he's in a, team of the year. Like it's.
Well, yeah, but it's
so frustrating.
Team of the years are a stupid.
Oh yeah, I know, but do you know what I mean?
I don't care about what they say. But yeah,
I
no,
don't think there's any like small coincidence that creatively we've had real issues, and we haven't looked as cutthroat, and then Odegaard's not playing well. Like it's not a coincidence, and there's loads and loads of things he does really, really well.
But the thing is, we like if he wasn't as good at pressing as he was, we wouldn't even get the ball to create. So it's like it's one of those. It's like this is my whole argument before about Havertz. I was like, oh yeah, great, yeah, you put a proper striker in, but how are we gonna progress the ball from the defense to the attack if Havertz isn't creating space? And broadly, we've seen the same problems. Like yes, there is certain opportunities for Gyökeres to get in there, but a lot of the time he's just isolated in the middle with 4 players on him, and there's no options. We've got Saka with the ball at the byline, like, oh, good luck, have a cross, mate. Like, I think broadly the real reason why Arsenal struggle creatively is down to the tactics. I think the tactics don't help us. I don't think they get us in central areas. I think yet again, like
should Odegaard be in more central areas then? Like, should he be in those pockets? Because quite often he drops out of them. So is that...
He just
do you think that's an Arteta thing, or is that an Odegaard thing?
This is an Arteta thing. He needs to let Odegaard roam. And when Odegaard roams, he's better. Because at the moment, Odegaard's role is that he plays in this right half space. He comes out of the block to receive. I don't mind him coming out of the block sometimes to receive, but he never plays inside. And even with Zubimendi, there's been a more of inclusion. Like you saw with Waneri when he came on against Leeds. Waneri was playing purely in the pockets and receiving the ball. Okay, he gave the ball away sometimes, but I genuinely liked it because I liked the risk and reward aspect. And our second goal broadly came from that because we won the ball back quickly, and then that space was there for Timber. So, like, I think that is more of a tactical thing than an Odegaard thing, personally. And I think the problem I have with Odegaard is his shooting from outside the box fell off a cliff last season, and
I
that was
mean,
poor. And then
yeah.
his crossing is awful.
If
But
I
I
see
also
one more floated cross,
But I also
honestly,
think, like,
I
why does
can't.
Arteta put him on this right side channel and make him cut in and cross it if he can't do that? Like, and he consistently is doing that. That's where he crosses the ball in all the time. So in my eyes, it's like a bit of all of them. Like, what are we all trying to accomplish here? And I think, like with Odegaard, like creativity, like it's like the same with Martinelli with the arguments, but I think with Martinelli, I'm a little bit more bullish of like I think Arteta's in the right. He should be we need to create width somehow. Like it
Mhm.
shouldn't be that hard. If a winger can't do that, then he can't do that. Then bye bye. But
Yep.
like you know, I think with Odegaard, like I don't think he'll leave as well. I think backroom we don't really see it, but I've heard like the things that he speaks about, like he is a leader in the entire pitch. Every single Arsenal football player likes Odegaard. Every single player speaks to him. Like people talk about Gabriel, people talk about like Rice. I think Rice is
Mhm.
a little bit more of a vocal leader sometimes, but like Gabriel is loved by everyone. But he is definitely like closer within the defensive group. Like he is the leader in the defenders. The defenders go to him for help. Odegaard's that for everyone. Everyone in the team likes him. There's a reason why he got 99.9% of all the votes again for captaincy, which he gets every year. And I think genuinely that stuff does matter a lot. And like, yes, he needs to perform on the pitch, but Odegaard isn't like, in my eyes, a really valuable asset to sell for loads of money. Like we bought him for 30 mil. He's not on the huge amount of wages compared to a lot of the players around him. He's on pretty like mid wages, if anything. And I
Yeah.
just look at people like, I'm like, if you really want to like, if you have to sell someone for money, I actually think it's a big risk selling Odegaard for what he brings for the value you get. If you get like a 70 mil bid, yeah, obviously, but I don't really think like attacker midfield. Oh, he's an 8 really. I don't know if like teams are going to really like him that much. So I don't know. In my eyes, I think Martinelli's probably number one right now to get sold in terms of the big players. I think Havertz is an option. If like he continues to have these injury issues, which I know he never had, but in the last 6 months he's had them,
Mhm.
and like I also think in terms of his wages, it's another thing. And also Havertz is another guy that is broadly loved. Like every single part, you
Funny
heard you
enough, best mates with Odegaard, isn't he?
well, yeah. Have you seen the conversations of every single German player when they come over here? Walt Marder, who's your favourite player? Havertz. Wirtz, who's your favourite player? Havertz. You know, no wonder it's the whole thing. No wonder Sheshko was scared of Havertz. They talk about him over there. Like, no.
Yeah.
But like Real Madrid wanted Havertz and
Mhm.
Bayern were linked with him
Fine,
before we
yeah.
bought him. Like, and Real Madrid now would do with someone like Havertz. He'd be brilliant alongside Mbappe. He creates so much space for him. And I'm like, I look at that and I go, Havertz is a big asset player, a massive asset player. And if he isn't going to be starting like consistently, I and we've kind of like grown up away from him with this maybe Gyökeres style, Madueke style, then there's a world where he doesn't need to be at this club, unfortunately. But
Mhm.
I think that's more of a sell I'd probably look to than Odegaard. But I do think Odegaard is a consideration. I think they're the only like three. I don't really think we can have like anyone else is really sellable. Like maybe a Ben White. Like if it comes down to it, yet again injury issues. I think Ben White. I don't know how much money you get for Ben White, but probably a bit.
He
So
was the next one I was going to say. Do you know what? I'll go through some of these comments. Sorry, guys, tonight. Like, I don't know why I cannot bring up the chat. It's saying right now no one's live watching, but I know there are people in the chat, so I'll read some of these out. I mean, Jay, big up Jay. Jay Gunner 17. If you are not following him on TikTok, go follow him. But he's essentially said like, who do you improve on Odegaard with? And that is like such a interesting question because Odegaard is so, I don't know, he doesn't like really tick any particular box. He's kind of across all the boxes, isn't he? And like if I look at other players around Europe who I would like to get, like Musiala is probably number one up there, but he's not a similar type of player at all. I mean, I'd love to go and get a Pedri or someone, but again, that one's
well, this
definitely
is what
not
I'm
going to
saying.
happen.
Like if this happens, you just play Eze. You just make it a 4-2-3-1
Yeah,
and
I
play
think,
Eze.
and I
That's the
think
two
you play
solutions.
Eze on the left, and I said this before, play Eze on the left and play Rice. And do you know what? That was the one thing I don't like. I agree with you in terms of Marino's performance and pressing and stuff. He was really good, and I didn't mind him starting the match. I just think when we got to 45 minutes, for me, I would have put Eze in on the left, played Rice out on the right, and just gone for it at that point. But I mean, what do I know? I'm just a
Eze,
bloke on YouTube.
Eze should have come on earlier, like in my opinion. That was my big major criticism I had. Everything else I was just like, I can understand why he did it,
I
and I
think
don't
at
really.
that point, like if you did, say if you did get rid of Odegaard and you go, right, we're going to put Eze there, we're going to put Rice out in that kind of the right channel instead of the left channel for the 8, you could look at maybe in the future going and getting Musiala, and then as Eze is leaving, because he's 27 now, isn't he? So then you start bringing Musiala through, and he
But
goes in, and
I
Eze
feel like
starts making more cameos. And
in that scenario you don't need to faff around with all that. Like I think if you're just gonna have, I think we should just have one attacking central player like Eze or Odegaard. I don't think Rice needs to be in this right. I just think you put Rice back next to
just
Zuba,
double pivot.
and he can, like we do what we do now, where we see Zuba like one of they rotate as one is in the 6 sometimes, and and they haven't completely got it like shored down. But I know in 6 months' time when they do, it's going to be insane. Like one.
Just
Because it's the
has to
same
be.
with the reason why our centre backs are so good, Saliba and Gabriel together, is because they rotate. And like Gabriel's the more aggressive one, Saliba's the more standoffish one who can run behind him because of pace. But they can also do the other things. If it comes down to it, and in a situation where we're on the break, Saliba can come across and cover and be that aggressive one, and Gabriel can sit back and be calmer. I think that's what you're going to see a little bit of Rice and Zubamendi. Like Rice is going to be the more long passer from deep, and Zubamendi's going to be the more like find the nifty little passes through the channels if we've got central players there. And in my opinion, to make that, you only need one attacker midfielder. Like you can arguably you could still, like for now, like talking this season, you could just have Odegaard in the like start somewhat of this right half pocket, but more in the centre maybe. Eze in the left half pocket, and then you have an Nkape just as the wide player acting like a winger on the ball. Play as
I
that.
think that is what will happen.
That should be
That's the
that we
most
would be
likely, isn't
it
it?
would be insane with that. Like 3-2-5, that is an insane 3-2-5. Like
Yeah.
I prefer that. That's already solved all the biggest issues I had about Rice in pre-season straight away, because he's now not in the left central mid spot. He's actually back where he should be. And that the thing is, you can't do that with a Miles. That's the
Who
thing.
does that suit most? Does that suit Havertz most or Gyökeres?
I think probably a Gyökeres, I think it would suit more, because I think if Havertz is in the centre, you don't need like Eze's going to drop deeper anyway and receive in the channel. So is Odegaard. Why do we need Havertz doing it as well? Like I think if Gyökeres is just the guy running in behind, as soon as Eze picks it in the channel, can turn, he can run in, and that creates even more space for other options like Saka on the wings and Nkapie, who will be on the left side in this example. I think that's our best system. I think as a box midfield, you can have Odegaard, Eze, Rice, and Zubamendi. Right now, that should be, for me, right now, that's our number one team, I would say. Like that, but like this is what I'm saying with different players. Like in order for this to, like, say Calafiori's injured or Nkapie is injured, which looks so much better when we had Nkapie coming in, just 100%. But if we played Miles in left back, we can't do this because he wants to invert. So already that moves Rice up further into that position we don't like, and then it changes it in too many ways. And in certain games that is fine, but this is why personally I don't think Miles is going to be
I
playing
think
left
as
back.
well, it gives you the option to take Rice out of certain situations and go, right, Miles, you're actually going to play in that situation now. You're going to pick up those zones and you're going to
Well,
do it.
yeah, that's a good point, actually. I would prefer, if we did that, I would prefer Rice to still sit deeper and then Miles to play inside the pockets.
Oh,
As in that, I don't think it's perfect, but I would rather that than Rice. Because I know Rice is a good runner, but yeah, again, what you said, tight areas, not his game. And I think like we talk about breaking down low blocks and that's a brilliant system. And like, I do want to mention it before like we end the podcast today, but like obviously I was very happy about the Madueke signing because I thought he'd be a great player, especially in these situations we're talking about as this wider player that can drag the ball from the byline into the box and just have a shot or create something. It's not always going to be the end product that's going to be there right now, but you know, I'll take that at the end of the day. But against Liverpool, he was very good, I thought. Like, I felt like, you know, Koshkev wasn't bad either. I felt like both had decent games. And obviously, sometimes Madueke could have done a bit more. But broadly, like, when he gets that ball in that space, he wants to run at players, and he is good down the byline. I think Madueke is a great player. And I think when I look at our signings, that's going to be one that people criticised a lot and didn't really like rate. But I genuinely think it's going to be one of the most important signings for us. It just gives us options. As you know, I said to you before the Liverpool game, I'm not worried about Saka being out because Madueke's there. And I think broadly, Madueke did a lot of what Saka would have, or even better. I think Madueke, I don't think Saka coming into that team would have made much difference, to be honest, with how we played. And I think that's a great servant of Madueke doing
Yeah.
brilliant in that game. And I think that is just yet again like a side in that I'm super happy with.
Yeah, it's just the money and the order of the transfers. I think if he came in 40 million and he was the last one, we'd already got Eze. No one would have batted an eyelid at that. No one, genuinely. I think people would have gone, "Oh, that's really good business." It's so funny, isn't it?
People
Like,
need to be more patient. It's not the
and we
market
said it
never
on here,
works
didn't we?
like
We were
that.
like, if he's the third striker, if you've got in a Gyökeres, and we said at the time, Eze, so absolutely fine. It's so funny, isn't it? Like how it works.
But that's how the market works. You don't get players based like I hate this argument. I see this argument all the time by like genuine professionals, and they're like, "Oh, they needed a goalie, but they bought centre mid in. Why?" It's like you don't buy play. That's not how it works. Like if anyone's seen what Palace are doing this summer, they just I don't understand why they didn't think about selling Gueye. They knew Gueye and Eze were going to probably leave, but they just let them stay for months and months and months until they made a decision. Like the Eze signing probably happened 2 months later than it should have. But you know that's because of I think that was more down to Palace than it was us. And it
Yeah.
that's
Oh
just
no,
how it
I
works.
agree with that. And yeah, I don't know the way it works. Sometimes we've got a very little idea of actually what's going on behind the scenes. And that's the other thing is like when people go, "Oh, you know about contracts, like, oh, why haven't they signed a new contract yet? Why are the club just concentrating on this signing?" And you're like, do you not think that they're capable of doing multiple things? It's not like Berta is completely on his own. He's over at Colney. He's got no one around him. He's just sat in an office, bless him. There's all these empty desks around him. He's looking around going, "Oh, Jesus, I've got to sign like 7 players here."
It's like
And
after school. It's like
and he's
2
like,
a.m. He's like,
yeah.
in their office. I mean, broadly, like I think, I think Berta is they call him the octopus because he's like in all these deals at the same time. Because you know, octopuses have like eight arms or whatever. You get that?
I don't think they're called arms, mate.
What are they called? Tentacles.
Yeah, sort of.
But it did feel like when Eddie was at the club, that guy could only focus on one thing at a time.
Mate,
like,
he had 2 hands and they were both at a barbecue half the time or behind a jet ski.
Discuss Marino for 3 months. My God. But like, yeah, like I think I do think like I don't know. I think overall to say about this summer, I think it has been really good. I think it's the best summer I have seen as an Arsenal fan. Maybe due to like obviously money spent helps. Like I know I see all this thing. It makes me laugh when people talk about who's had the best window, and broadly it is down to who spent the most money. And I'm like, well, yeah, but teams can't spend 500 mil every year. But like I think like not even that. It's just the players that we got in. Like I'm not the biggest Gyökeres fan. I wasn't before he signed. You know, I wasn't the biggest fan. Some of it. Well, I like all the others really a lot. But I think that you know Eze's not the most perfect fit in the world. But ultimately, like we talked about, we needed a left winger at the start of the market, and I think being picky, be a 10 out of 10, it would be a winger. But it does seem like the winger market is awful. Like Rodrigo didn't move; he strung clubs along for months. You know, we talk about Leao didn't move at all. Barcola didn't move when we thought maybe he's available. They were like my 3 big. Nico Williams. That's like my 4 biggest options, and none of them moved. So it's like,
well, Nico Williams and Semenyo both signed new contracts as well. Like
I
quite early on
don't,
as well, weren't they?
I don't think the new contracts actually make a difference. I actually think...
I just mean in terms of like, it just kind of compounds it even more that, you know, none of these players have moved. So
I think we could have got Semenyo if I
would
genuinely
have loved that one.
I genuinely still think we could have got Semenyo, but we would have had to make a hard decision on maybe getting rid of Martinelli, or hoping that we get an offer for Trossard, which we didn't know at the time. But I do think with Semenyo, like I watched David Ornstein talk about this like 3 months ago, where he said that teams will sign players on contracts to give them a pay increase, but also to make sure that they can sell them for like better value next year. It's literally just a scheme. They don't actually, and this is why it makes me laugh when people are like, Isak signed a contract, he should stay for 5 years. I'm like, that's the clubs don't even take contracts of that. Like they sign managers on 3-year deals, and there's no way that clubs think, oh yeah, David Moyes is going to stay there for 3 years. Like there's no way they think that. They think we'll give you a 3-year deal and we'll sack you. Like Eric Ten Hag signed a 3-year deal.
I was just about to say Ten Hag.
Like, there's no way
What
that
mess
club.
he's
I mean,
made.
I don't know
Oh
what the
my
club were doing when
God.
they hired him. I thought it was a mess, but it's like one of them things where like the clubs also don't expect you to be there that long. Like
Yep.
sometimes you do. I think in like if you work like broadly normal jobs, like in retail, for instance, if you work there, they might expect you to stay a little bit, maybe, depending. Like I know for a fact that like when I came out of uni and I tried to get jobs at like Tesco's, they didn't want me to get a job because they say I'm overqualified, and 2, they think that I'm just using it as a stepping stone to leave. Like it's bloody like it's like Crystal Palace or something. But like I think like when it comes to the market, I do think. Like with Semenyo, I think Semenyo is available next summer, and I think the reason why he signed a new deal was to probably put in there in the contract something like, "Oh, if we get this offer next year, you'll leave," or to have
Then
some
you
sort of
can leave,
agreement to be like, "Look, I've helped you guys. You gave me a new deal. I'm gonna stay here for an extra season, which I probably shouldn't have anyway. But then next year, can you let me go?"
Yeah, I definitely agree with that bit. Yeah,
So let's get him.
it's mate. I'd take him in a heartbeat. I'd
So
absolutely
good.
take him in
He's
a
so
heartbeat.
good, man. Like, I've been on and off about him all summer, but
And another Arsenal fan.
the first 3 games this season, he's been absolutely unbelievable. Like I've been watching him and I've been going, wow. And he can play on both wings, like perfectly. Like
Mate, you
I
can
think
play
some
up front
people,
if
and
you
they're like,
wanted.
oh yeah, well, he used to be a striker. I remember I had him. I always have to mention it somewhere. A little
Bit of
FM
Football Manager.
nitbit. Yeah, but I had him. I remember when he was at Bristol, and I had him on Football Manager, and I bought him for Sunderland. He was my boy, and he was so good. Oh, he was so good. And him and Sam Ayu away. I think that's how he says his name. He used to play for Southampton. He's a youngster. I think he still does.
Oh, okay.
But them 2 are really good. Semenyo, left wing, right wing striker. Oh, I'd take him. Like the thing is, we know he's going to be available next summer. Like I'm assuming he will be. Like maybe stuff
think so.
happens, but like if a Rodrigo's still being a dickhead, I would just go and get Semenyo. Like honestly,
No, at this point, I'm way more in for the Semenyo deal than the Rodrigo. Genuinely,
same.
I am.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I think you get.
I would like. He is like a mini Liao, so like we could get if we can't get Liao. Or, I don't know. Semenyo might even work better than Liao because of that work.
I was just about to say that. Like, I genuinely, and it's so crazy how quickly opinions change. Like, I've gone back and forth about players. You know, originally I was like Barcola. That's the one. Barcola's the one.
Oh, I guess
And then
Barcola might be available.
Yeah, so then I was like, oh, Leao actually, because like physically, he's actually really big. People don't realize how big he is and powerful he is. And so, well, defensively, I don't think he'd work in our system. You know, out of possession, I'm not too sure. And with the age profile, is it a good idea? The amount of wages he's going to be asking for. So then it's like, oh, you know, and I've just moved between all these players, but more and more, I keep coming back to Semenyo, and I think we both agreed that Semenyo would be one of the ones when we had our budget and we had our extreme, you know, amounts to spend in the summer. We both looked at him as well, so that's quite interesting that he's still there.
This is actually a great point as well about our market and like anyone like thinking like if we've had a good market or not, and like we should have bought a left winger. But we're talking about like right now, I know it's early days, but we're assuming like I've heard like loads of reports like if Barcola doesn't play that much this year, he's going to be available much more than he would this year. Like Semenyo will probably be available anyway. He isn't going to stay at Bournemouth his entire life. Like he's like 26, 25. So he's going to be the perfect age to leave next year. We look like Liao, another year at Milan. If they're awful again, like they are forever, like is he going to want to stay there? Like already, if them 3 are on the market, that winger market is 90 times better than this year. Like the left wing market this year was what? Luis
You
Diaz.
watch Savio leave City at that point.
Wow, yeah, exactly. And it's like I look at I just look at that and I go like, if the club have made the decision that the wingers, let's say we couldn't get a Semenyo if we didn't have enough wage bill, and we've already spent a lot this summer, so they're probably like, we need to move some stuff to next summer. We have infinite money. If you look at all this situation and go like, well, we actually, the market that they think is going to be better next year, then I have absolutely no issues of them being like, let's keep Martinelli and Trossard for a year. And then next year we'll get rid of Martinelli and then buy a player. Because that's what big clubs do. You've got to think like that. I know it's risky. I know we don't know. But I think that the winger market's going to be better next year, and I don't want to get some. It's like the whole Watkins thing. I don't want to get some like B tier player that can help just
And I
because he's
think that
there.
makes the Eze deal even better then. Because you're looking and going, right, we've had Eze for a year. He's been able to go out in that location. Now, if we want, we can play him there. We can play him inside as well. We can. This gives you so many more options, and you haven't gone out and got someone like you say, like a B tier winger, and then you're like, oh, we've still got to upgrade on them. Like we still like there's still an area that's not quite right. I think that Eze deal is such a clever deal. By the way, big up Ryan in the chat. Ryan, in
Woo!
case you've just joined. We can't bring up the chat, mate. So big up you. And it's nice John P in the chat as well.
Woo!
Semenyo has a mean long throw too. I'll tell you,
Oh
I'll tell you what, he would. That's such a good shout as well. Just that we're such a bunch of brutes now. Everything we hated
so
about
good, isn't it?
Stoke, it's like slowly, like you know what? There was something in that. Let's start taking. Let's start taking it.
It's because of the David Moyes of Arteta. He
Yeah,
managed him for
man.
what? He managed him for like 7 years of his career. This is his fault. And I'm a big David Moyes hater. I think he's a dickhead. But like, he's a good manager. He's just a horrible human being. But you know, it happens sometimes, doesn't it? Like,
That was not on my bingo for tonight. That's
yeah,
so
I think he's a
good.
good manager, but he's just a horrible person. But
I
like,
love these FOKL podcasts, honestly, because on Wackles,
I'm so like,
it's
casual.
so like conservative. It's like like you do the analysis and I love it. I genuinely love your content, man. It's so good.
Thank you.
But and then you come over on here and we're just chatting. It's just suddenly you always drop these absolute bombs. It's so good. I love it, mate. Yeah, sorry. That's
No,
made
it's
my
just
evening.
funny, and like I just think like that is what's happened. We are like he's like a weird. He's not really. He doesn't really manage like Pep anymore. But Arteta is a weird mix of like definitely at the start it was like a Moyes slash Pep. Like this guy's crazy, and like I think as well. I will say with our market, like even if Arsenal are poo this season, let's say the still problems are still there. Like people will find ways to blame this market. They do. They will find ways. But I genuinely don't think this market. It isn't perfect. We could have got a left winger. I think broadly it's been one of the best transfer windows we've ever had. Like I can't speak for before 2007 because I wasn't there and like active of like, oh, what's going on now, or who have we signed, like and all that. But like the value that we've got in these players, and broadly as well, the deals that we got. I think the only deal which I would be like a little bit is Eze in terms of the price and the age, but as a player, he's the best player we bought in my opinion. Maybe other than Zuba, I can't really compare him though. But like all the other deals are incredibly good fees, like are really good experienced internationals. A lot of these players. And like, I'm just super excited to see a lot of these players play. Like Mascara as well. Like people, like one of them smaller ones looks £30 million. That guy looks so fun. Like that's the signings I love the most. I love when we signed Tomiyasu for 15 mil and he ended up being a beast. Like I love these like cheap, great players. And like I was pretty satisfied with these seven. And we were like, talking like, oh, maybe you literally said, like we said about winger, but you were like maybe an overlapping fullback, and I remember saying like, I think that's unrealistic. I don't think we're getting anyone else in. And then, well, they're like, well, we'll get rid of Kibio. Let's get Kappa here, and I
Mad.
love
That's
it.
such good
I
business.
love it, and it's great. Like, and he's going to be another person that just understands that he's proper aggressive. He's super fun. The fans all love him, and I think
Oh,
I've seen a
100%.
lot. I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans say that this is the like not necessarily like the way we play or Arteta all the time. People are happy with, but in terms of the players that we have in our squad, we genuinely like a lot of them. Like we've got rid of some of the bad eggs, in my opinion, in the last year, and it feels like we've genuinely got a good group of lads that like want to play for this club, want to know. We've got players that are fans of Arsenal, but also like they understand. Like this is why people like Gabriel are super important for this club, man. Like he's so important because he is someone that the fans get behind. And I think even on losses, if we lose games and we play well, and I don't really see many people blaming the players, barring Martinelli. They're blaming Arteta, and I think that comes down to like the support that people have for these players. This group of, I think this is the best like group of Arsenal players I've had in a very long time, and like
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because just looking at that character-wise, I have so much respect for like people like Declan Rice. Yeah, he genuinely seems like one of the nicest people in like professional football. But Kayo Saka is another one. Like I think Norgard's meant to be like a really, really nice, just a genuinely nice bloke. And you start to look through the team, like Eze as well. Like he's another one that does loads of stuff out in his local area and goes to schools. And you know, I look at you get certain clubs, and you can tell the players have to, they have to do these press things, and they have to, they just have to do it. So that's why they're there. I don't get that from this Arsenal group, and it's so nice to be like, I genuinely like these players. There's so many different kinds of characters in there as well. Like you've still got like the Ben Whites, who's a bit of he's a bit of a shit house, and he'll wind up players, but they all seem like really good blokes. Like so, hopefully it goes far. Quickly to finish, then let's do like do we do A B C D tier for each transfer. Let's start with a Hincapié one. He's not there right now. What was it? Was it 60 million euros in the end with add-ons? Something like that, wasn't it?
It's less than that. It's like 50 something. It's like I can't remember exactly, but
I mean, Football Talk said 45 million pounds.
Yeah, I think that's for. It's funny because every single
and it's a loan originally, isn't it? So
yeah, loan with an option.
It defers.
Well, yeah, it's not even an obligation; it's actually an option. Because if it's an obligation, I read about this before this actually happened, which is weird. I was like, how do these all work? And an obligation means that it does go on this year's books.
Yeah.
But an option means that it doesn't because it's not guaranteed. But in the clause, how Bert has done this isn't mad. He's like put a clause in there where both teams can push it to go through, like either team. So if we don't want him, if he's like, I don't know, injured the entire season, Leverkusen could be like, well, tough luck, buddy, and make him buy him. And we did the exact same deal with Kivior as well. So if Kivior goes to Porto and they're like, nah, we don't want him, we're going to be like, nope, and we can force them to have him. So it's so interesting.
So weird, isn't it?
That puts us in a really good position, though, because let's say it would be unlikely for them to happen because both teams would not want the transfer to happen, let's say, and that would be weird to happen. But let's say, like, Hincapié, we're just like, nah, we're not feeding him. And then they're like, okay, now we will keep him, we'll bring him back. We could just bring Kivior back if that comes to it, if we have to. So, like, there is situations where it helps us. I think as a deal, it's like an 8.
Ooh. I think I put it just in B, simply because it is quite a lot of money. It's still a lot of money, but the way that it came out of nowhere, just for that, pushes it a little bit. If you know what I mean, it's right that no one expected that.
It's interesting because I don't think. I think 45 mil is like going rate for defenders, to be honest. I don't really think that's bad.
I'm only saying because the amount we lost Kivior for, that's how I'm kind of looking at it and going, you've had to play a little bit more out. And I don't think it's horrendous. I'm not saying that. But yeah. Would I put it up there with like
a player than Kivior, to be fair?
There's others I'm looking at going, yeah, they're A's.
I think every single defender you buy in Europe, though, at that level is going to be like 35 to 40 to about 50 mil. Like Calafiori was that price, Timber was that price, Ben White was a little bit more.
How much did we get Calafiori for in the end?
It was about 42 mil, I think. It might have been euros or that might have been pounds. But it was somewhere around there. Like Timber was around the same price as well. That was about 40 mil. That seems to be the going price for defenders completely. Well, not for selling us apparently, but like in terms of starting like centre backy type defenders, like even Yorhato, I think he went for like 32 mil, but he is really young and he's gonna be a backup option for Chelsea. I know some people said about him being a backup for us, but like I said to you, I think Calafiori's unreliable, and I think Hincapié will actually end up playing a lot. We spoke about the tactics, like how it works with him in there. It could work with the same with Calafiori, but I think it just gives us something different. Like I think it's fun, and like I mean, Calafiori has been, bear in mind, our best player this season, I think, so far.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I don't want to take him out of the team. He's been excellent, and he played for Italy today and didn't get injured, so that's good. That's good.
Right, let's go on to, let's start down the bottom right. Kepa.
Like, how do you even rate it? Like, it's just like a 5 mil. I'd really like to know what wages he's on. Like, I'd really like to know.
I think he stayed the same. It's like over 100.
Nah, it's like 75 because
is it?
he was on
I thought it.
175k for Chelsea last year, and then when he went to Bournemouth, they changed his contract to go down to like 75k. I heard, or so it's somewhere around there. It's like between 75k and 90 or 100, or something like that.
That might.
And then I think we took the contract. I'm pretty sure it's not over 100k because I don't think Chelsea were paying him that when he didn't play for like 4 years. So I don't know. Though, like we just don't know though. Like we just hear things by different reports, and it's like who knows. But I think it's. I would be concerned if he's on over 100k
According
a week.
to Capology, it doesn't get a wage, so
yeah,
it just says 0.
He's on a 0-hour contract. Fair enough. If we have to play you, mate, you get money. If you don't...
To be fair, Salary Leaks is saying 75 grand.
Yeah, because he was on 175k, but when he went to Bournemouth last year, he agreed with Chelsea to sign a new deal, which put it down to 75. And then we bought him from that. So 75k a week is a lot for a second keeper, but is it really? His age is he's good age, could play for a while in goal. He's like 30.
Yep.
I like it. 5 mil. I'm very happy with it. Like a Garcia would have been more upset and would have caused some problems. Like he is going to play for Barca a lot. And there's like good other keepers, but like the secondary keepers that I scouted in the summer, one of them has just gone to United for 20 mil, like Lamens. I scouted him loads, and I'm just looking at we got Kepa for 5 mil. I think broadly that's a very very good.
I'm happy with it. I think as well, like he knows the league and he started in the league. They're for multiple clubs now.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about him coming in.
You know what? The more I talk about it, the more I like it. Like in terms of like, I know like people are gonna be like, oh, but it's Kepa, but like. Given the situation, I think it's like an A. Like I think it's a really good signing. Like
an A.
I think the market. I think the secondary goalie market is like there's a bit of a scam artist. A bit. You think about Liverpool's backup keepers like 30 mil, but Man City just spent 30 mil, 2 goalies. I know that's like
true.
different to compare, but because we're obviously going for a genuinely just number 2. But I mean, I don't know what the plan for Mamadashvili is at Liverpool. I have no idea. But you know, he was okay.
That deal almost worries me. With him, like I wonder how that works out and pans out over the next year.
He's also not a goalkeeper that plays with his feet, nor is Donnarumma. So, is there something that we don't know about? Why all these goalkeepers who can't kick the ball?
I mean, see, I'm going to go the opposite way. I think a C for Kepa. I think it's a good deal. I'm not saying it's a D or anything, but it doesn't inspire me.
Signing of the summer.
Yeah, it doesn't inspire me. It's the one like personality-wise as well. Do you know what? We were talking about characters earlier. He's the one that, not so much.
Really?
But
really?
Maybe that's just because I'm judging him on the whole Sarri thing. And
yeah, I feel like personality on the pitch might be a different thing. But I actually do think a good thing about Kepa is that like. He is best buddy. He was like him. It's been known that like obviously they had that little group of like Havertz, him, Jorginho when they all went to I think it was it Jorginho's wedding? Or it might have been Kepa's wedding actually, something like that. They all go to each other's weddings and they all hang out all the time. It's been this whole thing, and that's why I do think it's funny that we've basically brought all of Havertz's best friends to like.
Come on, lads.
When Jorginho is here, and we brought Havertz, who they were known to be like best mates, and Kepa was known to be the other one. I think there's another guy as well. I can't remember who. So let's just bring them all. Was it
Noni Madweki?
I don't think it was Noni Madweki somehow. But like, I think Kepa, like as like he's Spanish, so he's already like he knows a lot of the Spanish players, you know, when he gets called up like years ago. But then also like broadly, like he's like friend to Havertz. So I think that stuff's important. I think that was one of the reasons why Havertz wanted to come to us because Jorginho is here. And it's the same with Zubamendi. Zubamendi didn't want to leave Sociedad. Oh well, it's fine. We just got half the Sociedad
Marino.
team.
Don't worry, mate.
Yeah, it makes it easier. Like you played with a lot of these players. There you go. So I do think that actually means a lot. And I think. If he's just going to be like, you know, we talk about Matt Turner when he was at the club being the sort of like, what he used to say, he'd say that stupid saying, he used to take a piss out of him.
Oh my God.
I remember Rice taking the piss out of him for it.
Oh my God.
And it's like,
I can't think what it is now.
If you're supposed to be there for like the good vibes guy, like we had El Nene for years and everyone used to be like, love El Nene because he's just a good vibes guy. Honestly, I think Kepa is good vibes. I think he seems like a good guy. Like, I don't know, it might be our best signing. I don't know.
Oh, don't start. You're just trying to wind me up.
I'd be up excited. I tweet it. I'm gonna.
If you tweet that, I'm blocking
Because
you.
everyone's
That's
gonna.
it.
If I put Kepa's been our best side of this season, everyone would be like, "Oh my god, you hate the other players," instead of taking it in the way that I mean it, as in Kepa's a beast.
Uh, mm. I
It's
don't.
funny though because I criticize
I don't
Kepa
think we
so
even
much.
see him this season.
Well, we hope. We hope we don't. Well, no, we know who we will see him against. The Kazakhstani team we're playing in the Champions
Yeah.
League. He's
That's
100%
at
playing in that
home,
game.
isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. If
Thank
it was
God.
away, we would have an
It's
11
basically
hour,
China.
11. Yeah, Real Madrid have got to play there. It's an 11-hour flight from England. I don't know how much
Because
it's spending.
I saw the name come up and I went, oh, of course. Just instantly, like the woe is me came out as an Arsenal fan. I was like, oh, of course we have. Then realised, oh no, it's going to be a home game.
We didn't even speak, like, I mean, for like 2 minutes, what do you think about our Champions League draw?
I think it's all right. Some
Yeah.
good games in there. Like some
Yeah.
good games. So to be fair, two of them are basically. It's like we're gonna just see who is the best out of possession team in world football game.
Who's gonna have the? No one's gonna have the ball. It's just gonna be like in the centre. No one's touching it. Don't
It's going to
touch
turn
it,
into a
guys.
rugby match, and we're all just going to be kicking for territory.
Kicking off the ball for forward.
Yeah, I quite like it actually. It'll be some good games, and hopefully we can kind of be secure and done before we get those other games towards the end, and just play whoever.
I think it like in terms of because the season's dumb. Like respectfully, it's stupid. So in the five or is it 5 or 6 teams that we could have got in pot one? Obviously, we had to play home and away. I literally, when I looked at it the day before, I went out of all of them, I'd play Bayern and Inter. And we got Bayern and Inter because people like are worried. But we're playing Inter away at the San Siro. Like we obviously lost there last year. But the only reason why I was scared of them last year is because I was like, oh my god, Inzaghi's a genius. He's getting these 36 draws to be good. Now they got some bloody academy manager and they're crap. They lost at the weekend. I watched it and I was like, I don't even care about Inter anymore. I'm not even worried. Like Bayern, I think is our hardest game, but like Bilbao away is our first game. We play next week, actually. Oh no, the week after next.
Oh, and I think we've got every chance of beating Bayern.
Yeah, we beat him in a friendly. Nico
why.
Williams, we beat him in a friendly, and then we've got to go there and beat him again. You know, you got. I like it. I think it's quite fun actually. I think all of it is really fun. PSG as well, 2 years in a row have got the insane.
Isn't it
draw.
weird that we have basically come up against the same teams again? Like, yeah, I mean, there it is.
Yeah, yeah. But it's always going to be like, because the pots are dumb. And when half of the pot is English teams and we can't play English teams,
Yeah,
it's going to be like every year we're going to be playing Inter Bayern.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
God,
it's
just
so
Bayern every year.
stupid.
Right, next one. I mean, you've gone with FOKLZ. Oh, gee, God.
Woo!
Norgard.
Yeah, it's like a C. Oh, actually,
Yeah,
it might
I'll
be.
go with this.
Might be an S tier because of what it means for the club, because of who we got rid of. S tier.
Less said about that, the better. I'm just going to, C. I think it's a short-term deal. It's a real sensible deal. Would I have got him? No, he didn't even really come across my radar. I would have been, going for a Buadi or an Agume, or, I would have been bringing in some youth. But again, like we talked about earlier, with looking at like a Semenyo and bringing them in, or maybe moving on a Ben White and bringing someone else in, or an Odegaard, and that next evolution of the squad itself. I think that might be the plan for next year. So it's a case of, okay, we've got Norgard in now, Premier League proven. He's been a captain in the Premier League. He's definitely capable. His preseason was incredible. I think he was one of the best performers in preseason. And then next year you go, right, we're going to look at getting someone else in, and we'll start phasing him out or moving on and get the same amount. It's fine.
This one, like, fully, in my opinion, this is the one out of all of them where I can't even really make a decision right now. Like, it's so early. He's not even played in the Prem for us because he's been injured. I also think if this does allow us to get a Buadi who isn't 18 yet, so we couldn't get him this summer, if that does eventually lead to that, which I don't think Buadi's a 6, by the way. I watched him. Lille won 7-1 the other day. I think they won. And I watched it because Hamza Igamar from Rangers played his debut and came on and scored twice. And it was the most insane game ever. It was literally 1-0 in the 50th minute. It was 0-0 at half time. They won 7-1. Like in the last 20 minutes, I think they played Lorient, and it was just going crazy. They couldn't defend at all. and that was kind of when Buadi came off. But Buadi is such a good player in them spaces as an 8 and like progressing with the ball. He's like really lanky, and I was like, like, I mean, if he's there in the future, I mean, we spoke about Aguame. Like, the whole thing was like, oh, we need to get him now because he's a cheap like market opportunity. No one bothered to buy him. I was talking about how United maybe should get an offer for him. He's still at Seville, so it's like, well, guess we could just come in next year then.
I completely agree with you. For United, it was the perfect idea.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go. Yeah, we'll go C for Norgard. Madweki.
Hey,
I'll be honest. It looks like a B signing. Asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said a C signing.
I genuinely think this is. I think it's one of our most important signs of the summer. Like, I genuinely think he's going to be more impactful than Gyökeres. I think he's going to be.
Oh, that's a shout.
But I just think he's a better footballer. Like, I think he's a better footballer than so many people give him credit for. Like, I really went through a lot. I did a video about my review of this year's window, and I genuinely came to it and went, I was looking at the start of the summer, backups for right wing, and I was looking at Kubo, Bakayoko, who ended up going to Leipzig.
I remember you talking about Kubo.
And their players were for about 30 to 40 mil. I didn't know how much money we had to spend on it, which obviously, if I knew we could spend 50 mil, would probably change my opinion a little bit. But Madueke is an incredible footballer to get as a backup right winger technically, and he can play on the left. He's an England international. He'll probably start for England at the weekend, maybe unless they play Bowen there, but Bowen never plays. But like, he is in the England team as a winger. To get into the England team as a winger is insane. Like, last season, he was Chelsea's best winger by far. I don't know why they got rid of him. As someone as well, like, in terms of what it means for our team, he is exactly what we need. We talk about Semenyo and that directness. Like, he might not have it on both sides as much as Semenyo does, but especially on this right, when he comes out wide, he gets into the middle and can get shots away. It's such a good system for counter-attacking, but also against low blocks because he tries his best to go past players. I look at players like Martinelli, if we sell Martinelli, and let's say we sell Martinelli for around 40, 45 mil, we've basically sold Martinelli, bought Madueke in, even though he's on the other side. Madueke is so much better, and he's like he's the same age or a year younger.
That's so true.
And I think the deal with the wages, I think the fee is a little bit expensive, so maybe that puts it down. But I don't think it's that expensive in the Premier League market, which has been working at a 30, 40% rate higher, nearly half a rate higher, 50%. And he's just so good, man. I'm actually like, there are certain players that Arsenal sign that I just don't worry about. Like, even Zubamendi's been a bit nervous. We'll talk about him, but I don't worry because I know how good he is and know how good he will be. Like, I saw him for Spain last night. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then I look at Madueke and I'm like, I have absolutely no worries. I'm super happy we signed Eze, so it takes that burden off from like the external perspective. But I genuinely, I'm probably more excited about him than anyone else other than Eze. But then maybe Zuba, but like I knew Zuba was signing like 7 months ago, so I'm super happy about Madueke. I genuinely would put it in there. I think this signing will be. I think in 4 years' time we'll look back at this window and I think he will really be a standout player.
Yeah, like for me, I mean, I had him lower. If I look at other players who have moved, so like Kudos, Elanga, you know, I'm looking at players like that and I'm going, well, I personally would have preferred Kudos, but I think long term it makes more sense having Madueke. It really does. I think he'll suit us more as well as time goes on. It was a C as I'm looking at it. And you make a really good point about that Martinelli sell. If we can get Martinelli out and you can kind of look across and go, well, it's more or less the same in and the same out. Like, fine. And I think he is an upgrade. Is he much of an upgrade on the left? I don't know right now, but in terms of what he offers us on the right, and Martinelli made quite a few appearances on the right last year. He's far better. He gives us such like better directness, and his ability in one-on-one situations is so good. So yeah, and on top of that, there's so many like really, really well-established scouts who talk about him blowing up at some point. and I'd like to, listen to the professionals more than me. So there we go.
I do
But,
think he will play on the left for England, maybe at the weekend. Tuchel loves playing him on the left. He's played on the left a few times. That will be in a five-backy system, maybe. But I think if like Benny was watching, like that'd be an interesting thing to watch, like how he plays for that to kind of see. I think he can develop as a left winger, but I think with Eze coming in, I don't even think we really care. Like I don't think he's going to play that much. But it's an option. An option.
oh, next one, Mosquera. For me, this is an A signing, mate. I think this is an incredible piece of business. He's not A in terms of like the actual profile, but the money spent and what he gives us. If we can actually give Saliba rest, and a moment like the Liverpool game where Saliba goes down, like, I think part of the reason he was put out on that pitch was Arteta felt the pressure of I have to play him. Now, after that performance, I'd be like, no, you don't put Saliba on the pitch. You change it. Mascara goes in from the start now. He
Yeah.
he's so good, like aggressive, able to play out in that right back situation, which might be, where we were talking about Ben White. Well, like, what does his future look like past this season? I think Mascara starts to ask more questions of Ben White as well. He's a really, really interesting guy, like really young. Played more or less, more minutes than anyone for his age group as well. He's yeah, amazing signing. Amazing signing.
Yeah, it's for me. This is genuinely value for money, an S tier signing. It's our best value for money signing we made this summer by far. I also think as well, like when he comes from Valencia and he is super young, I think people kind of think that he is a level below some other players because of where he's played at. But specifically with defenders, that's not really how it works. Like I remember when Laporte went from Bilbao, who were playing at maybe a little bit of a higher level than Valencia, but not really at the time to what they were last year, Valencia in sense. Like, but he went from there to Man City and was insane. Like, was genuinely insane. I remember him being one of the best players in Europe in that first year. And even like Diaz is from the Portuguese league, like a league where some people seem to think like they make loads of great defenders. No, I don't think so. I think they're overrated. But I think Ruben Diaz is like one of them players that came into City and was instantly their best defender. And he came from the Portuguese league, like not even a top 5 league. So I think like Mosquera, like there is a world where Mosquera is forced to play in right centre back. It looks like at the moment, which I think is his best position, even though he can play left centre back
I'd
and
agree
right
with
back.
that.
Fine, I think it's the position he's more familiar with. I'd say, but I think like if Mosquera has to play yes in the next 2 months, which I mean I don't think will happen, but let's say he does have to. I genuinely think there's a level where he could put incredible performances in where we don't even miss Saliba. And I think it's insane that, like, I know Saliba's like one of the best centre backs in the world, but we can get players that can easily be very, very good to help. And alongside Gabriel as well, I like him way more than I probably do against Saliba, down to the mentality factors. I think anyone against next to Gabriel has got a huge advantage, especially with like Timber as well and Raya. Like, he's got a huge advantage of just learning under like supreme mentality beasts in the back. And I think like I love this sign. And when we made it, I wanted us to make a signing like this, even him or Ribeiro. But Ribeiro's a little bit older. He's like 25. And I said that in the summer that we needed to get a versatile centre back who can play on both sides. And we tried to, like Huijsen, Ribeiro's linked, and then him. So that it was clearly an idea. And I like it's hard because we made so many good signings in terms of quality. But I genuinely think like impact wise, I mean, now if he has to start, which I think he probably will have to start against Forest, I think I'm like ready for it. I think he's going to be up there and ready. I think
He's
it's
the perfect Tobiasu replacement.
yeah.
Like, we
100%.
could not have got a better player in. It's such a good buy. Such a good buy. Who do we go with next? Who do you want to go with?
We'll talk about Zubimendi because obviously it's happened like 4 million years ago. Like Zubimendi as in a player.
He's played 3 seasons, hasn't he?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, talk about this guy for 2 years. But like, I mean, he's a great player, like great signing. I know right now people are very critical. Like, there's some things he doesn't do the best, I think. But he always is trying to force the issue, which he takes risks, which we've needed. Like, especially against Leeds, the risks that he was taking on the ball, I loved. Like, that moment early on when he makes that pass, gets intercepted, tries to make it, get intercepted, tries to make it.
Yep.
But it's just good. Like, at least he's trying to do
Yeah,
that work.
I love that.
And then when we scored the second goal, it's because he risks that pass. It's basically the same pass that he does when we score, when he passes it to Timber. I think Zubimendi will need time to get familiar because, like, he is in the center of the park. He's probably one of the most important players in terms of, like, build up and, like, not really pressing as much, but in terms of being on the ball and creating, like, he needs to be that first phase. And him and Rice will learn that. They will. They're starting to learn it already. And give him a couple of months and they'll be perfect together. And this guy will change our lives. Like, this guy's a great player. Like, the money as well, like, in comparison to that market, the central midfield market, which is hard to compare maybe because there wasn't many big central midfield signings this summer. But we heard about Baleba being about 100 mil. We've seen before about Caicedo and Rice even, and even Enzo Fernandez. So in terms of that, it's just like the price is great, the player's great, he's a great age, he's gonna be there for ages, and he's basically the opposite of Rice, which I love. So it makes so much
mate,
sense.
the way they're going to complement each other is perfect. Like people talk about centre back pairings and having like an aggressive defender and a more cultured defender. Like those two are just like that, yin and yang. They're such a good decision getting him in, and you can tell that has been a seed planted for a very, very long time. It's not one that we've just rushed to. That we have really thought about this. There's rumours that the Marino deal is linked to it as well, which is really interesting. But I think that is our number one signing. I think Zubimendi could be the difference between us winning a league or not. Like he really is, and everyone's looking at the attacking areas and how we're going to get central access and how we're going to get more goals and how we're going to deal with the left issues and whatever. And we need a number 9 and someone who's actual target man. But Zubimendi is that player that we've desperately needed to just have consistency in the ability to pass forward, consistency in being able to control games, and he's so good at choosing the tempo, when to speed things up, when to slow it down. He's going to be immense for us. He really is. And signing in the summer, I've said it over and over again. I think he's signing in the summer. He really is. And who the hell else, apart from Rodri, I really question who else you can get in world football right now who's capable of doing what he does in that position. Like, there really aren't many players that can do that.
Yeah.
So,
my like stance on midfielders is that like you don't. I think Arteta's actual biggest weakness in this entire Arsenal career in terms of tactics and play style is figuring out this midfield. I think he's wholeheartedly struggled to make it work multiple times, especially since Xhaka left. In my opinion, like how midfield works, like yes, I think Zubimendi is very specific and helps us, like you said, like perfectly. But if you could just get another player that does something else in, if you get what I mean, that changes the system up a little bit. Like, I kind of think, like, with midfield, I always have this opinion that I'm like, I think Zubimendi's a great sign for us, but I think even if Arsenal were forced into a situation where we had to play Miles and Rice in a midfield, I think we'd be fine. I think we'd broadly be fine. I think genuinely, like, there is bigger things that we needed. Like, it is nice to have Zubimendi. He's going to help us a lot. I don't think it's a night and day. Like, he comes in, we win the league. Like, I think broadly last season.
No, I don't mean that, but I do think he takes us a step closer.
Yeah, I think he's a better player than Partey, but I also think that like sometimes the midfield isn't that detriment, if you get what I mean. Like, I don't think Liverpool's midfield, I think it works well, but I think there's clear weaknesses in it, and I just don't think it matters because they've got good defenders and good attackers. I always think that like I look at Gravenberch and McAllister as a partnership, and I do think they broadly need Szoboszlai somewhere. I genuinely think he is like the guy that makes everything work for Liverpool. But like, I think like with them, they can't really defend very well in transition. They're not really quick at getting back very well. Gravenberch is a little bit over aggressive. McAllister's brilliant at like pushing out and being aggressive. That's the thing he's amazing at. And so is Jones. Jones is really good at that as well if he has to come in. But I don't think their midfield's perfect. Like, we've been speaking about them needing a DM for like 3 years, and they just won the league and they're the best team in the country. And I'm like, sometimes I just don't even think it matters that much anymore. But I'm hoping he does make a difference, Zubimendi. I think in terms of me, like, we needed that attacking threat. I think even, like I said, like, we played a Miles in midfield if we had to and then bought an attacker, and I think we'd still be in a better chance than we did last year. I just think attackers are just needed. And I'm not going to lie, like, going into the summer, if you said to me our three attacker signings were going to be Madueke, Gyökeres, and Eze, I'd be very confused. Um, and I'm like broadly, I'm not confused now because I've like understood it and like done enough research to kind of figure out what's going on. But I'm still like a bit. I don't know how I feel. I feel like Eze is kind of what rides or dies a lot of this transfer window for many people. Like without an Eze, the other 7 players are good, but do they move the needle enough? Because we've struggled with going forward. And I do think there's over-reliance on Saka, over-reliance on Odegaard, who, like, both of them have struggled for a while now for injuries or whatever. So I think for me, Eze is like that signing where I'm like, this guy is... Because he's also... The deal with Eze, though, is not brilliant. Like, 27-year-old, 4-year contract plus 1 option. He's on a lot of money a week. We spent 60 mil, 68 million pounds, like almost Nicolas Pepe money for someone that's 27. Is insane. Like, it's big money to spend, and you don't see Arsenal ever do it. Yeah, and like, I don't totally agree with paying 68 mil for a 27-year-old, like, just broadly. And I know people are going to be like, that's not how, but that's how I think. I think businessly, like, I probably wouldn't do that. But Arsenal were desperate in this situation where we need more attacking quality. Why we bought Gyökeres, why we bought Eze this summer. Madueke was fine. We could have bought Madueke if we did both systems. If we were doing for Sheshko or Gyökeres, it wouldn't have mattered. Like, he is fine player, so I like him. But both of them are like win now players, which is what we need. It's why I think Eze is better for Arsenal and Xavi Simons is better for Tottenham. I've no idea why Tottenham are trying to get a 27-year-old for 68 mil, who broadly pays as an attacking midfielder, which they don't need. They needed a more 8/wing fielder type, well, more like 8/10 type over a wing fielder, and we needed a more wing fielder with given our positions that we have. And they also don't need a 27-year-old, like a 22-year-old for them,
No,
for the
they
price
don't.
they got. They're not going to win the league this year or next year. They need to wait for the future. So like with us, we need to. So that's why I like the signing overall. I still think financially, Eze's it's not the best, but you know,
It's not, but I think at this point you just throw that out the window.
yeah,
I genuinely do. I think, yeah, Eze for me is he's up there with Zubimendi. He's an A signing. He's the tactical flexibility he gives you is unbelievable. The the difference he can make in a game as well. He's one of the only players that can kind of out of nowhere create something. I don't really know anyone else that does it, in the way that he does in our squad. I guess people will be going, "Oh, Gyökeres is a game winner," but not on his own. I don't. He needs that pass so then he can get that space. Whereas I think Eze can just pick the ball up and just drive. He can pick up at the touchline and just cut in. Yeah. Even like free kicks, that's like another thing that he gives you. But yeah, Eze's just, and the way that whole signing's been as well. It's one of the first like glamour signings we've had, which is so funny, isn't it? You've got a Spanish international there, and the clamour around it isn't anywhere near like Eze. The Eze one's just, and I think it's really good to have a statement like that to the league. Like, yeah,
yeah.
we're moving.
That is that signing that does that. Like, I speak to other fans outside of Arsenal, and it's like, we thought your window was good, but we still didn't think had any chance of winning the league. And then you buy an Eze, and now people consider us like. And I think that is a very important sign.
And then we go getting Capier after. Final one, Gyökeres. I'm gonna say, right, if you spoke to me last year, I would have immediately gone A, because he's everything I love in a striker in terms of the way he plays, the fact that he picks up those left channels. He just has so much confidence, and I don't think he's going to care if he has a little drought at the beginning of the season. I really don't think he cares, and I have loved everything about this signing and him coming in. But right now, I have to say it's a B, simply because I worry about how Arteta is going to use him. And I don't know if you remember, there was the whole thing about when United bought at RVP. Essentially, Fergie had been saying to the players over and over again, he is making these runs, you have to hit this pass. Like, you have to. It's not, a negotiable. You have to do it. And lo and behold, RVP goes and scores an absolute screamer from the pass that he's been talking about. They go on to win the league. Arteta has to be doing that. He has to be talking to those players and say, you need to release it early. You need to play those balls into that channel. Like the Calafiori one he did at Leeds wasn't even good. It's not like it's an amazing ball. Like we just need to be doing that and need to be doing it earlier. I think until we see a slight change and we see some willingness from players to release it early and release him early, it rests and be for me. But I think it is. And let's be honest as well, we've got Havertz out again. So thank God we did get him in, because if we didn't get a striker in this summer, we'd be looking at Marino up front right now. And then Leandro Trossard as our backup. So, yeah, I think for me now it's a B, but
I think it will be a B signing. Like, I think genuinely we talk about football quality, he is a B player, like B tier player realistically. But I'm not really that bullish on like Arteta, because I just think it's the players. Like, it's on the players to play like that, not Arteta. Arteta puts them in the right positions. Like Martinelli, Arteta didn't tell him not to put that ball through on the break. Like, if he does that, your Krez is through. Like, that's on the players. And also, like I don't want to criticize Gyökeres, because I actually think a lot of it is he's going to get targeted by the media, and it is how it is. But I do think some people, especially the Arsenal fan base, seem to have like completely diverged him from any sort of responsibility. But he has made some poor runs and not ran when he should have sometimes. And if it comes all down to connections of understand the players around him, but it's not all on the players as well, or the managers, him as well. He needs to adapt to us as well, which like it's not just like we need to put the ball through a little bit. So, it will come in time. I think I was happy because it gives us a different option, but we need to have us to be fair. I don't like us having just Gyökeres as an option.
I agree.
Because we just need someone else in there sometimes. Like, we still going to cross the ball in loads in the air. He's not great in the air. Like, I don't know. Like,
I've seen him score a header in an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah, but it doesn't count because it was a friendly, so no one knew it existed. But like, so I just want an option there. I guess I'm a bit. I'd say I'm a little bit worried about Gyökeres, but overall for the fee, it was a pretty good sign, and 55 mil is not that expensive for the striker rate, and especially like we look at Waltmart going for like 70 mil, and like he's better than Waltmart at the moment. Waltmart is young, though.
Currently. Relax, dog. There's a dog fight out there. Thanks, Nick King, for dropping that in the chat, mate. Mate, it's been, I think we said originally, we'll try to get it done in an hour tonight, because especially after the technical difficulties, just so you guys know, it has been completely my fault tonight, not Reece's, with the delay and stuff. I hope the audio has been all right as well, guys. Let me know in the chat if it has been. But we've finished up there. We've got an international break now. But the train still moves. We will be back next week. Well, I guess we'll be a preview next week, won't it?
Yeah. Are we playing? Is it Forest? At home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I was doing yesterday? I wasn't even looking at our fixtures. This is so bad. I was looking at Liverpool's fixtures during AFCON. So yeah, it looks like
we're not going to miss anyone for AFCON for the first time. And
I was thinking like Salah. Like, when's he going? When are we getting rid of him? And it looks like he might miss Tottenham because it's like the day before AFCON starts, I think. So he might be flying out, obviously. So he might miss that. And then they've got like Wolves in there. They've got, I think, maybe Burnley in there or someone. They haven't got great teams. But if Egypt do go far, he might miss us at the end of that tournament. Maybe we just getting tickets and we just say, you know what, just stay and watch the final, mate. Just stay there.
But that's the thing with United. Like, it's going to be super interesting to be like, who are you? How many? What players are United going to play? Because most of them going to probably go. Most of their key players. Like, I mean. It's just actually that's just insane. I have no idea why AFCON's every like 2 years, but or like I know it's like all the time, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it is what
I
it
do
is.
love AFCON. It's a brilliant tournament, though.
Do you know it's so underrated? So
Super fun to.
underrated.
I remember I watched like the 20, like it must have been 11 one when I was like really, really young on like ESPN, and I loved it. It was so good. I remember like watching Gabon. They scored a free kick in the last minute, and I went mental. This is great.
Mate, thanks again. I always appreciate you coming on. The hard hitting side of FOKLZ TV.
I know. Gonna record a video for my channel now and be like, "Hi guys."
I'm just gonna drop a link to a short of you just talking about David Boyes.
My shorts are. I'd say on my shorts I'm a little bit more rogue nowadays. I had one about Martinelli and I was well, I wouldn't say I was that rogue compared to some people, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't say that the Europa League should just be a wooden spoon and a handshake, and it's your chance to play against the big boys.
But that.
I love it. I had Newcastle fans after me about Isak because, you know, Isak was never going to leave Newcastle. I hate to say I told you.
I said to you like 6-7 weeks ago, I was like, he's gone. I was like, as soon as the news came out, I was like, yeah, this guy's not staying.
Yeah, and then now I've got Tottenham fans all coming for me because they're really disappointed that I just completely discredited the first trophy they've won in God knows how long. So
it's not the worst fan base to be hated by, though.
no, I'm reveling in it. It's lovely. It's I'm enjoying being hated. I feel like proper Arsenal now. It's great. Mate, where can everyone find you? Tell everyone where they can find you.
FOKLZ football, FOKLZ analysis now. I actually do
Ooh.
videos on there. Yeah, if you care about other teams, Newcastle fans, they love me on there. Go watch that one. FOKLZ YT on Twitter, FOKLZ football on TikTok. You know how it is.
Tag is down there. The tag is down there. And obviously hit the like button on here and subscribe as well if you haven't done so already. You can find us here every Friday, usually from 8:30, but not tonight because, you know, I have been absolute numpty with my whole new microphone setup. But nevertheless, you can find me on Forder and Footy on Instagram, TikTok, and X. We will catch you all next week. Until then, stay safe, stay humble, and remember, everyone, it's a dogfight out there.
Why did he say it twice?
Cheers, guys.